got an invitation to run in this into the next.
Okay.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to.
Okay.
Bill.
Oh my
gosh.
All right.
Oh, it's going again.
You do your little dance and diggy jiggy, and then I'll step in when you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
When do you want me to start?
Now.
Now.
Okay. Hey, here we go. You know it's that time of week again, right? All right. Well, thank you so much. Yes, guess what? It's Monday again. It's another Monday, and it's, well, January, February, March, April. Look, April 15th. All right, so we had quite a week. We started off, oh my God, I don't know. Where do we start? Where do we start about that? We had some deputations. We went in, we were told that we're not able to make any kind of deputations. I came in. Go ahead.
So let's start Monday night. We had our Zoom meeting, and everybody had said how tough they all were going to be, and then they go into council, and I'm sitting on the outside. Oh, okay.
There we go. Okay, all right. Put a hand together for our chief, Chief William Denby.
Thank you, thank you.
All right.
So, anyways, I am sitting. Oh, did you want to blow the card?
Oh,
first?
Jesus.
We gotta get that
Okay.
done. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I
You almost got past it.
We had quite a day too.
Oh,
so
wow.
All right. So first of all, I'm going to open up with a shofar.
Yeah.
All right. We know it's a war. It's a spiritual warfare and a physical warfare. And if you don't think there's a war going on, you're definitely not awake at what's going on here.
It's a war.
Yeah. There's good, there's the evil, there's the Most High, there's the devil. However you want to slice it, there is definitely an evil spirit out there. And there's awakening of people that are full of love and understanding and have the love, not just the wanted truth, but the love of the truth. So that's where we need to stand. So remember in Jericho, okay, they had to go around 7 times. They blew the shofar, but the walls didn't go down until the people shouted. Yep. And this is the spirit of the people of truth. And we need to be doing that. So we do have the victory. We got to yell out the victory, okay? So after I blow the shofar, we'll yell out victory, okay?
Yep.
Victory!
Hey!
Yeah, that's right. So we need to take that, right? It's ours to take, and you know what? We have to start collecting ourselves. He's doing that for us, and it's the spirit.
And we've had a good week of victory.
Yes,
already.
we have.
We've had a really good week.
Oh wow!
So let's go back.
Okay,
let's start. So
yes, thank
we
you.
can bring everybody up to date. So if y'all remember last week, we
open up prayer too.
Oh, sorry.
You know what? Like again, oh my God, it's just wild. It's just so wild.
It's his brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
He's overwhelmed.
Okay. I open up in prayer. Dear Father, we praise your holy name, the name Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. Father, I want to thank you. Thank you for gathering us in these times. That the spirit of truth is and understanding is so needed nowadays. And we need to collect. And Father, bring your spirit in here that we get the understanding and truth that is needed to be the light to those who are actually seeking that truth, Father. So we thank you for this. Hallelujah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, are we done now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, we're ready to roll.
You know what? He comes first. Let's give all the glory.
Exactly. No problem. So last Monday night, we had the plan. We were going to go into council on Tuesday. Bill's job was to stay outside on support, and everybody was supposed to go in and do exactly the same thing again, shut down the council, take control of it, get kicked out and banned because it doesn't matter anyways. And my brother here gets in there and he stands up and he starts and he looks around and they took off. They left the building on him. I couldn't believe it. Okay. So their excuse was, we wanted to do the deputation on Wednesday night for the rural rezoning. That's why we didn't support them. So right then and there, we had to say goodbye, just because if you don't have each other's backs when times are tough, this is a war. And one warrior was in there doing his job, and the other 3 mice ran out. So we thanked them for their contributions. We've wished them good luck. And we said, basically, you three can march on the road you want to go. So we've moved ahead. I served because the city basically had issued me a no trespassing order on public property and no grounds. Then they issued a statement over their Facebook page and on their website saying that we were a fraud, that we're not First Nation. We are trying to represent and steal land and just, we're just trying to rip the people off. So I said to the rest of the group, we said, there's only one way you deal with this. So I served them legal pending notice that we are going to sue them for slander, defamation, and the issue is we had issued a statement back on our credibility, who I am and whatnot, and all our documents. And I give them enough time to retract, apologize, and they didn't do it. So I served them that
Last night?
last night. And Brother Steve and I and Wanda had to go to court today, and that was that was the best I've had in a long time.
Ooh, yeah.
We
yeah.
walk in and had a beautiful worship. I mean, she couldn't have been any nicer. And she understood. I took a stack of my documents. They were, what'd she say? They were 9.5 inches tall.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And the crown had this much. And all the crown kept saying to her, we were doing a pretrial. Excuse me. And all the crown she kept saying to the worship, do you want to see the pictures? Do you want to see the pictures? And of course the crown said, the worship said, I don't want to see the pictures. I want to know what he's got and what position he's going to go, right?
That's right. Well, it was really interesting when the crown was reading out all the information that they had come onto my private property.
That you violated.
Whatever. Yeah.
In their eyes.
Yeah. It was seems like such small potatoes.
Oh God.
I just couldn't believe it. Like it was just
anything.
Compared to what we're putting up in front of them.
Yes. So you have what we served.
You bet.
A copy. You read it off. Like I said.
Potatoes compared to potatoes.
it's.
Did I say tomatoes?
Tomatoes. It's like I explained to her worship. We're not here to waste the court's time. We're here to get this matter dealt with. We should never even been here. And the crown tried to cover up the fact that she'd blocked me on email, which the worship.
She was astounded.
Just blown away.
Like, how do you block emails from your constituents, the ones that supposedly elected you in? We know it's a selection, but yeah, let's just play with it.
Well, this is the court process. They don't block you. You're supposed to be able to communicate, right? That's what they're there for, the crown and you. So, anyways, the crown tried to lie her way out of it, and the worship didn't buy into that at all.
No, not at all.
Then by the time I was done and explained to the worship where we were going and what time we needed, the crown goes, I'm not going to be on this case. I'm too busy doing other ones. And I'm going, why? I told you that I want to learn you a lesson on constitutional law and how it's applied and argued on behalf of the people against the crown. She was pretty nervous, wasn't she, eh?
Well, she was once she started talking that kind of direction.
Oh.
She started, fidgeting, everything. You can see it. And there was actually someone else, was a student watching all
Yeah,
this.
we
had a good talk with him.
Oh yeah, and he actually thanked us because I could have asked him to leave, but I wanted to educate him as well, so that he realizes that if he ever does become a crown, that you have to act with, because it's an administrative body, as everyone knows, and you have to act with procedural fairness. So your opponent, being the public, you have to hold them at a higher threshold of respect, which that crown knows nothing about. So it was joyful. That's all I can say. It was really, so read off. So we basically had prepared, and I said to Steve, when you go into that, it's just bullets. These are the areas that we're gonna
keep it very simple.
Yep.
And basically we're challenging them in the court of their jurisdiction.
Yep.
That was the main focus. And so let's hit that from a high level. The first level is the Williams Treaty.
Yep.
To know what treaties and are they legitimate. So the thing is, we do have proof and documentation
It's
that our
not.
chief brought in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the high level.
So she's seen that we're on unceded lands. There's no treaty over 15,000 square
From
kilometers.
1871.
1781.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I-
Flip the number.
Yeah, I got that.
1781. My great great grandfather would not
Oh, does.
surrender, and the tribe would not surrender this land to the crown.
Right.
They said goodbye. See you later. The land's worth more than anything. 1783, and I explained to her, they came back in. They started at the south end or the north end of Lake Ontario, and they started slaughtering our people and pushing them north. And as they were pushing them north, it took them from 1783 to 1800 to make sure that they pushed us far enough up, and then they started issuing crown land patents. Nice part is this worship knew what crown land patents were.
So that was the next one that we went for. So
Yeah.
part 2 was basically showing that we had crown land patents pre-confederation.
Which supersede then a municipal, provincial, and federal law, because we are still under the monarch. This land is still under the control of England and the monarch from England. So they keep saying that our law supersedes the B&A Act. Sorry, it's the other way around. Any of your crown patents, and when they started issuing crown patents on our unceded lands, it was 1800, and it started at the south end. So it started at Newcastle across Durham County, they called it at that time, and they started moving this way. So they would give 100 acres to each party, that settlement that came in, an immigrant, be it Catholic, Protestant,
Military.
military, people that fought in the war, that killed the Indians. They gave them a bigger chunk, 600 acres or whatever, as a reward. So the nice part is what happened was, and I explained it to her, she was kind of interested in all of that. Crown wasn't, but
No, of
because
course
the crown spoke up and said, because I said, we have authority. And then I said, well, what's your authority? Because we've been trying to find that from your boss for the last 2 months.
The problem is no one questions it, right?
So I pounced right on her. I said, show the worship your authority then.
She couldn't answer it.
Shut right up. Done. That was it. Finished. Another lie from her. Fraud.
Okay, so we went from treaty,
Yep.
and then we went to land patent grants.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
and then the next situation was the amalgamation
In 2000,
contract.
where the province and the county of Victoria, or Victoria County, however you want to say, signed an agreement, and they put it into black and white, 176 pages, and that's contract law. So there was terms and conditions that they had to meet.
In 1 year.
In 1 year, they had to amalgamate all the townships into wards and standardize all the zonings, bylaws, and usages.
I guess-
So they're all the same.
Right, so guess what?
They didn't do it.
2001, January comes around,
Didn't do it.
they didn't, I don't know why.
2002,
Anyways.
didn't do it. Didn't do it until they tried in 2024, this Wednesday night. God, the week goes so fast. Last
Yeah,
Wednesday night.
That's right,
Last Wednesday night, sorry.
so,
So
and here we are,
you went in on my behalf and told them that you have no authority to do it because under contract law,
right?
it's now null and void. See you later. Bye. Simple. Just right to the point. So I explained that to the worship. I'm going to argue that. And then we're going to argue.
Well, then we came to the last point, is that they're violating the municipal act, period.
Correct.
So under their own act, take a look at anything that says about private property, there isn't any. And
that's
also,
section 9, 10, and 11.
9, 10, 11.
Yes.
And they only have jurisdiction on, they turn around and says, okay, dwellings include signs and fences. So if you know, as Stan will be talking about later, includes
Yes.
means only.
Only.
You know, so it excludes everything else, and anything you say afterwards is only that they're dealing with.
Yes.
So, but the thing is, that's dealing with public property.
Yes. So theoretically, legally, every way you want to go, slice the bread. The municipality has no authority on private property. None.
Unless
And-
you ask them to do something.
If you invite them in,
By
yes.
That's right.
consent.
That's why
Yes.
I said, if you invite them in, then you give them permission to come onto your property and do what they want.
Stan, you'll have the floor in no
Yes,
time
you'll
flat.
have it. You'll have it.
Fighting at the bit, right?
I know exactly where you are, Stan. I know all that. But we were playing with the crown a bit because the crown
Yep.
says, no. We can come on that property anytime we want to. We have that authority. And again, we go back to show us. show us
They
in the
can't.
municipal act. They can't.
No, they can't.
So that's when she
They're
says,
not being used. They're not used
No.
to being tested out, right?
oh, that's when she said, I said, well, you're going to be on this with me, right? Come on. I want to have some fun with you. And she says to the worship, I won't be on this. I'm just too busy. We already know we're going to pass this off to another crown. They're going to bring a crown in from, I think, Toronto to argue with me. And I'm thinking, that's great. That's going to be fun.
Right. Okay,
Right?
so all in all, we're putting this all together,
Yes.
and I'm going to give you an email address
Yes.
to send us your story, to
Yes.
contact us on how we can help you
Oh,
and
yeah.
how you can share your stories.
Mhm.
The email is called, first name is Sue,
Sue.
last name them, Sue them at kltpa.ca.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so remember SUETHEM at kltpa.ca. So send us your stories,
Mm-hmm.
and also we're here live every Mondays at 7 p.m. every
Yep.
Monday. Sorry. And we're at 3900 Highway 35 North.
Yes.
And that's just north of Lindsay,
Yep.
about 3 minutes north,
Yep.
in the town of Cameron.
Yes, and any of the municipalities, people across Ontario, we have set up our consulting team firm for any people in any jurisdiction, any municipality, if they require our services, we would be more than willing to assist them.
Absolutely.
And, yes,
Yeah.
and we will go in and represent them at council. We will represent them with their mayor, with their CAO, and we will read the riot act on them and let them know who they really work for, which is the people. Because this is what's been so complacent. The people have basically thought they elected people that they knew within or whatever, and those people were going to do a good job on their behalf, looking after their affairs.
Sure.
Because you
Yeah,
have to,
there's your situation,
yeah,
of course, yeah.
because you have to remember, okay, City Hall owns nothing. We own everything. Without the taxpayer, they don't exist. So they need a really good lesson on this, you know. And what we've managed to do with our poor little guys, because they're all like babies that's on the council, all they can do is yell, "Sit down, shut up, out of order, recess." I like that one. Eh?
Yeah.
We're gonna take a 5-minute recess.
It's always a recess. It's always a kerfuffle with these guys,
oh,
right?
it's funny, just pure funny, right? Because they've never been challenged on their authority.
Our friend Dave was over there
Yeah.
at the time. Were you?
Yeah.
You were there when we had that kerfuffle, right?
Oh, it's just fun. I just have pure fun. It's like pure fun.
Yeah.
Because they don't seem to understand, and I don't know what it's going to take. I think what it's going to take is our lawsuit, right? It's going to take the defamation lawsuit, because I keep
Wow.
telling them they're not so bright. I keep telling them we're suing you individually, which means you all got to hire your own lawyer.
Not
You
the
can't-
city. We're not suing the city.
You can't go to the city
Because we'd be
first.
suing ourselves, right? So
Yeah.
no, we can't do that.
I'm not going to sue ourselves.
No, of course not.
God, no.
No.
And
That
that is stupid. And I'm not going to.
I guess they think they're really dumb or something like that.
Ooh, that's what they said to me, right? They go, I go, no, so what lawyers are you using? Well, I haven't talked to the municipal lawyer yet. She's in South America. And I'm going,
Oh yeah, isn't that interesting? They actually have a lawyer in South America.
yeah, but she's
Why is that? Oh,
she's
yeah.
the money launderer.
Yeah.
So we got in here.
Well, it doesn't look good. Put it that way.
Listen,
anyways.
this fall over. Just get ready. I'm not prejudiced. I'm just telling
No,
you.
we say
facts.
without prejudice.
Oh, without prejudice.
Without prejudice.
Yes, we caught them. Listen to this. I'm driving around. I'm always doing. I tell them I got 100 people working
Oh,
for
geez,
us doing
this is
investigation.
Last couple of days. you
Yes.
talking? Oh yeah. This is fresh.
This is
Speaking
fresh.
about fresh.
Stinky fresh.
Yes.
Anyways, we've changed the name of City of Kawartha Lakes to Shitty of Kawartha Estates.
We'll tell you why. Go ahead.
Because I'm driving down. They call it Lagoon Road to the water treatment plant. Not the water sewage plant. That's what it's supposed to have been. They call it water fresh treatment plant. Whatever. Anyways, I'm driving down, and this shit tank,
Honey wagon.
it's a septic pumper
Okay.
of poop, human poop. Anyways, he pulls down behind me. You're supposed to go in over top of the scales, then come back out of the dump, come down the side. There's a gate open they have with a camera on and all this good stuff. So you drive in, you pull up this way, then you back straight up to where they have these hoses coming out of this hole. He hooks it up. I'm sitting on the road waving at him, okay? And I'm filming, right? Anyways, he dumps his load and he's gone. Another one wasn't 5 minutes. The same company, Redmond. He drives in, he pulls in, he backs down, and he dumps. Right? I'm going, what the hell? Anyways, I drive around. I go right into the dump, and I go up on the scales, and the girl says, "What do you got?" I said, "Nothing. I want a video." "What do you mean video? Where's the manager?" "Oh, he's over there." "Okay, can you? I want to go see the manager." I go to the manager and I said, "Here, I got something to show you." And he says, "What's this?" I said, "I caught your guys dumping raw poop into a hole that runs directly over and out into the river. That's where it runs, because we've droned it and we know exactly where it goes."
Yeah.
Okay, and then I took a picture of the gate that says all septic dump in here. These are trucks. Everybody dumps in that hole and it goes into the river.
Directly.
Directly.
So there's no water treatment system that's going on.
Nothing. No. That was the fun part. Anyway, so he tried to deny it to me. He says, "No, that can't happen. There's no way would it do
No
it."
wonder our fish are all dead. No, go ahead.
Well, no wonder there's lumps in our glass of water.
Oh, Jesus. I'm glad I'm
Oh,
on a
Jesus.
ball.
It's
Sick.
Anyways, when I showed him the pictures, he says, yeah, and that's just exactly what he did, truthfully. You better phone this number. It gives me this number to call. So I call this lady, and I tell her what I seen. Then she says, "Oh no, Mr. Jim, you misunderstand. No, we'd never do that." I says, I doubt that. You're lying to me, because I said I have a drone video that we put up and watched it come out the other side into the river. So unless that's an imaginary poop we just seen, it's your poop, and yous have been doing this for years. So, so I basically went really wild with that one. I put it all over social media, okay, of them dumping raw poop in the river. So then I got on a real band kick. So I went around, we had that big rainstorm, and I videoed all the water rushing out of where all these contaminated factories were into where they draw the water from. And I'm going, holy crap. They built a new pumping station by the river, spent $20 million building it. And I go on the other side of the river and I'm looking, they got these great big intake pipes coming out of the bottom of it. And I remember back when they fired the thing up, all of a sudden they had raw poop going right into the river, and they go, "Oh shit, somebody forgot to close the valve," right? They do it all the time, because anybody knows you can't pump poop uphill. And Lindsay there's the highest point, and then the river's the lowest point. So everything, they've got these pumping places all by every point of the river at the lowest point for that section of housing. So we found out that basically all the poop goes into the river. They're using, like Dallas said, an illusion that they're actually treating this when they're not treating it. They're picking up all the septic from private septic tanks within the city, and they're dumping that in the river. And then the driver, because it was really funny, I got out and I talked to the driver and I says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Bill, it's not me. They tell me I dump here. We can't dump nowhere." And then he says, "You really need to be here when the abattoirs, they pick up all the dead, the guts, the blood, and all that from the abattoirs after processing the animals. They have a special place they dump. Go down by the gate where there's a big, huge culvert and a big hole. They just pull in there and they just dump it right out, and it gets flushed right straight out into the river."
Now they want to build all these extra homes. They can't even manage the poop that we already have now. So that's going to happen.
They can manage it. It goes in the river.
Yes.
Come on.
That's why they have these cities around these rivers, right?
That's why all across, I think, if we went to every place across Ontario where these towns, villages, they're all built on the river, you got to think back. Lindsay was built in 1800. So there was no sewer system. There was outhouses, whatever. Okay? And they ran all the storm drains, all the plumbing to the river. Everything gets dumped into the river. So wintertime, road salt, all that stuff goes into the water where you're drinking it. Okay?
So what about these alleged water treatment centers? What's really
They
happening there?
they get millions and millions of dollars for the illusion.
Right, okay.
Because, once you say on here, clean water, whatever, then you assume they're doing their jobs, right? They're licensed by the Ministry of Environment, to protect the water.
Sure, and our
the
taxes
land.
keep going up all the time.
And they keep raising our fee,
Right.
for the, like, water in, water out on your
Maybe
septic.
it's the gasoline that dropped the honey wagon over into this river or something like that.
I think, and this is what we're telling everybody, wherever you live, okay, do your own little inspection of where the poop's going. And I guarantee you 99% of the time, it's going into the water. Because for them, they're taking in millions and millions and millions of dollars for that service. Excuse me. And it makes more sense to just dump it into the river. Dilution is the solution.
Okay, so
Right.
how about something for everyone to do, perhaps, like what you did with the video guy, Bob, the other guy.
Drone.
You did a drone, so you
Yeah.
take a look at where the pumping stations are, where the river is.
We flew over
take a
top
little
of
hike.
Lindsay.
It kind of gives you the big picture what's going on. So if you really want to test your municipality, that's one way of
Oh,
doing it.
but I forgot to tell you, I got banned from going down near that sewage plant.
Oh, why would they want to ban you from going to the sewage plant?
I wasn't supposed to be there. They says, "You're not supposed to be here." And I go, "It's not me." Yeah, they get off.
Well, isn't that interesting that they would add that to part of what
The
these
ban.
can't be banned
I
from,
can't
right?
go to the library. I
Oh,
can't.
why would the library?
I read too much.
Oh, Jesus. Are you
So I
serious?
read too much, right? So anyways, I couldn't go, I can't go to City Hall. I can't go to the library. I can't go to the poop station. I'm likely gonna get banned from the dump. Cause what I found out on.
Because that's the poop station in the first place
Yes,
anyway. so-
yes. So, but I have my own my own incinerator, so I don't need theirs. They don't get any money from me. So anyways.
That's the problem.
That could
No,
be, it could be.
You're a big thorn.
Oh, I'm a pain in their butt. I'm a poop in their butt, right?
Hey.
But all I'm saying is,
Yep.
everybody, okay? This is like, I call it fun, because it's like, what are you doing? And you I use my little tablet, and I go click, 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 and then I send it to them. So I put it up on my Facebook page, and then I do it on Messenger, and I send it to them, and go, "What are you doing?" And the engineer, remember, you were with me? The engineer, okay, of the city calls me, and he tries to explain to me all about how the sewer system works,
Oh, supposedly.
how it's supposed to work,
Right.
in theory.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "One, I was on the Northwest Trunk Steering Committee, so I know how it all works. I worked for 2.5 years underground, installing sewers and waters and all that stuff. So I know exactly what happens. Most places are all gravity flow.
That makes sense.
Because if you had suction, you wouldn't be able to use your toilet, right? You'd have nothing left by the time you got off, right? Okay. So I said to him, "One, I farmed, okay, for 40 years.
See, this is where Elf started, right?
Yep.
Started, okay. Yeah.
I had the same kind of system, a manure pump and a tank, okay? So I know exactly, and he calls it a wet well. So in the wet well, what happens is all the poop's supposed to come in from the sewer as it's shifted along, goes into the wet well. Then this agitator pump kicks in and pumps it way out to you're gonna fall over. I says to one, "How far are you pumping this poop?" Because if you go from the far end of Lindsay way out to 36, it's damn near 5 miles. I said, "You know how big of a pump you'd have to pump that 5 miles? And you gotta have a flapper so that when it shuts off, it seals it so it doesn't run back." So that line is full all the time, because all you're doing is opening it up. It runs for a few minutes or whatever it runs, and it moves that much more. And I said to him, "You gotta agitate that and grind it all up into the finest product you can get in order to pump it." Then I said to him, how much pressure are you using?" He goes, "What do you mean pressure?" "Well, how are you pumping it? Because where the pump station is almost 200 feet lower than where it's going to get out at the other end. So you got to have pressure, right, in order to go up over and down and out." I think I kind of blew his theory all to poop.
Well, for him to actually ask that question,
I said-
kind of really shows you his intent, or,
Well,
or maybe he knows. Like,
well-
how would he not know?
No, because he said that's not his department. His
Oh.
department is engineering, so he designs it.
That's what they usually do.
And
you
he
know.
designs it, but he doesn't know whether it works. That's the public works department.
Oh, they work, the public works does
They're the
work.
ones then that look after it once they've designed it and installed it.
Sounds like passing the buck to me, but go ahead.
Well, I says to him, can you please?
Can't
Bill.
hear you. Can't hear you.
Bill, they're hacking into your account right now. They're hacking in. My fucking PCP is running like 90 miles an hour. They're hacking into your accounts.
Should we close it down?
No, don't close it down. I just hang on until they get it sorted out. It's called the DNS, direct. They attack the server, and then they can overwhelm things. This is what they do.
They're hacking his server.
Check, 1, 2. Can you hear that?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hey,
you're
you're
back.
fixed.
You're back.
Fixed. You're straight, Doug. Yep.
Thank you. See, we fixed it. Don't worry.
Glory to King.
We got Almighty on our side here. Right? Anyways, so what I'm gonna do is I'll just wrap it up.
Yep.
So,
repeat the last few
Oh.
words you had to say.
yeah,
but do
okay.
it in sign language.
You can hear us now? Good.
Anyways, so what I did was I shot down, okay, the engineer's explanation of how the sewage gets to the water treatment plant. That's what they call it, water treat. They don't call it sewage treatment, right?
Just give me 1 second.
Yep.
This one's gonna.
Okay. See me all? I'm here. We good?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay. Thank you. We got it. It was technical difficulty on our side.
It's called batteries.
Batteries, yes. So anyways, what we need to do is we need to go on a hunt and see mission and then do what we do, make videos of it all, and then put it all over social media in your area.
Expose.
And then what you do is you send it, because they all like these little sites that they have of their own. I go on and I send it to all the city sites. So I send it to the health, I send it to everybody.
Tourism.
Everybody,
whatever.
you name it, whoever, right? And then I made a new sign out front I got on my property that we put up. What I call it? City.
Oh, it's so many of them.
Oh yeah.
City
Anyway,
of shitty mistakes.
I told everybody that the city puts poop in their water, okay? Because they might as well know, and then that way, because what I figured the best way to do is for the public to not use city water, and then all of a sudden that amount drops, and then all of a sudden people start phoning and saying, "Are you really putting poop in the water?"
Everyone's starting not being sick anymore.
Yeah.
How about that?
And if you remember back, this is how funny, I often laughed how, when they were monitoring COVID, okay, they were using the septic, okay, which is the most ridiculous thing that you could ever test, okay? Because it's mixed with chemicals, it's got a whole bunch of stuff in it, people flush everything down their toilets usually, right? And a lot of hospitals dump directly into that as well. So you've got a whole bunch of stuff in there. So how would you ever get a true picture? But the public look at it and go, yes, they know what they're doing, right? They believe that. And I have one final thing, okay? And then it's our good friend's turn. Everybody, because we haven't had a chat about this yet, eh? You know this is Dallas. This is Agenda 2030. You want to put it up there?
Sure, absolutely.
Everybody needs to carry that with them like the Bible, because that is the Walking Dead.
Yeah,
If
it is.
anybody watched the movie, the show The Walking Dead, this is the Walking Dead coming to a place near you. If they ever get away with pulling this off, the UN, hopefully that Klaus Schwausch is going on the way out, you know, because somebody, it's like Trudeau, somebody should have really done them in long ago, because they are so sick and so evil that all they figure, they must lay awake all
They're
night
all
long.
talking heads anyways. You cut
Yeah.
the one off,
Another
more
one
come up.
Yeah, they're like the baubles. They're like bubbles, right?
Yeah, what, the bonkers or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too long for it. He's 86 years old.
Yeah, 86. But they may put new batteries in him and get him going
We did
again.
that to David Rockefeller.
Yeah.
I think he went through about 4 hearts.
Yes, because he's got lots. They got to keep him, eh? Come on.
Yeah.
Well,
Who are they going to replace him with? Trudeau, right?
well, they always got someone to replace.
Yeah, they may. All right, I know our good friend wants on.
Yeah.
Is there any questions? Is there any question? Gene, do you have any comments you want to make?
Thank you. Just so you know, this court thing, this is a new game they're playing, that they put court cases in separate rooms from the public. So your pre-trial probably should have been in a normal courtroom so people can zoom in to watch what's going on. They did this in Walkerton to a fellow named Jason, and I called in on Zoom and went to register as a normal person, and they asked me, what case am I there for? And I told them, and they said, oh, there was a big pause, eh? Oh, quiet. Oh, he's in another room in another part of the building. I said, well, that's not very democratic, is it? So I'm just letting you know, I'm surprised that they didn't give you a link to dial in on Zoom, because all those court cases on that list are made up for the public to dial in to access, just for the future. And the other thing is, when they separate stormwater, like coming out of your eaves troughs, if you're in the urban area, they actually have to go down in the manhole with a little unit. It's called a smoke bomb. And they put it into the sewer pipe. And if there's any smoke coming out of your pipes for the for the rain, it'll actually see blue, red, or green smoke coming out. And then you are mandated, or they're supposed to help you to disconnect that, so your eaves trough water is not mixing in with your sewage, which overflows their plants. That's probably something they've never told you about either. Anyway, thanks for letting me jump in on that.
Yeah, you're 100%. I'll tell you what happened. We went into the courtroom, and then all of a sudden, there was a reason, nobody really said. We had to go out of the courtroom and down to where the worship was in her chamber, her room, okay? But we sort of have something, and we're not telling you at this point what we have, but we have it all, our conversations, okay? So you may get to see it at a later time, all right?
Totally understand. Thank you. That's enough said.
Okay. It was like when I went and I filed the complaint with the police over the millions and millions of dollars missing at City Hall. We both were wired, okay? And I have that conversation on a stick. Oh, they do it, so why wouldn't we, right? You know, we're using their own, should we say, skills, techniques against them now. But they don't seem to smile like we do, right? I don't know why, right?
Well, we're pretty open on that one.
I don't hide it.
No, well, that's what it is, eh?
Yeah.
When you turn on the light, you know, what is the little crazy little things? They just scatter across,
Yeah.
right? They just run away.
But anyways, has anybody like actually read this document? Because it's rather well written. It says the United Nations transforming our world, the 2030 agenda for sustainable development, you know? And then when you get into it, it's like, okay, this is a script from The Walking Dead. That's what it is. If you don't take the chip, if you don't use digital currency, if you don't move into their 15-minute cities that they're trying to develop and control, then what they do is they punish you. They turn off your debit card in order to buy,
Exactly.
and they eject you outside of the 15-minute city, and they leave you there for a little period of time to feed on maggots, worms, whatever whatever you can find to survive
They got concentration camps.
until they let you back in. And they do this a couple of times if you read this thing here. Okay, and on the third time, you don't get back in. So you're left outside there to basically eat anything that you can find or die. And they're gonna do this likely to 100, just like a concentration camp. The only difference is if you follow their rules, they'll feed you something. I don't know what it's gonna be because they're destroying all the farmland,
Right.
right?
Crickets.
Crickets, chocolate covered maggots, whatever, right?
Protein.
Protein
Keep you alive.
to keep you alive, but there's really no purpose to it because you won't be doing anything. It's like the basic income that you get this much money to live on, and if you exceed that, then you get turned off. And they do that a couple of times, and after that, they throw you out of the sanctuary city and they take away your debit card, period. So you're on the outside, like I said, eating. You might even have to eat your brother if he gets thrown out. You'll have to fight over which one gets to live, right?
It's not gonna happen at this end here. But
So my
Be alive.
my plan, and I've shared it. My plan is because if this 15,000 square kilometers of land is unceded
Mhm.
and it's our land, then we can invite all the people that they want to throw out to our sanctuary.
Because they're gonna turn around because with the UNDRIP,
Yes.
then you'll end up with 15-minute cities.
Mm-hmm.
So this is this is where the land grab is. The United Nations has a deal with First Nations. That's why they don't recognize us because we
They're
haven't.
mad as hell at it.
Oh yeah, because they have an agenda.
Yes.
Okay, all part of the 2030.
All in
Okay,
here.
it's the United Nations agenda. They're
Yeah.
using the First Nations, so you're gonna hear a lot of reconciliation.
Oh.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a two-stage process of grabbing your land. See, when you heard that you own nothing and be happy, there you get the United Nations using the First Nations.
Yeah.
So they just like in the city hall,
Yep.
they got the CAO in there that's appointed by the United Nations.
Yep.
They get the final say. You think that these elected, I know it's
Selected.
election, whatever. The mayor and the councilors have a say. Well, sure they do have a say, but the CEO can veto or X-day or do
Yep.
go forwards with anything. He's got the final say, and that's appointed by the United Nations. So that's UN at the municipal location. All right. So what's going to happen? They're going to have it all to the First Nations, and then they're going to say. The First Nations don't even know what's going on. They think, "Oh, this is great. We're getting our land back." Next thing you know, oh, sorry.
No,
go ahead.
No, what they're doing is they're going to the First Nations that have the land in the reservation.
Right.
They're getting them to turn that land over to the government. In return, they're guaranteeing the ones that are the chief and the band council that have been getting all the money, eternity. That those families will still be there in control no matter what, and they'll be appointed.
Well, like the same way they do the
Right.
municipal in the law as
Same
well.
way.
So it's just it's just
And of course
To the
they're
First Nations.
and of course they're buying into it because they're looking at it. Oh, that's like I'm a dictatorship now. I don't have to be elected or selected. I am there. My family is in control over that land forever.
okay. So that's what at that point. Now all the First Nations have all the land.
Well, that's what they're believing.
That's what they're working at.
believing.
Okay, now stage two
Yes.
of this whole process is that the UN says, "Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't
Sorry.
dot that I,
No,
you
I
didn't
don't-
cross that T."
Nope.
You know, because they demoralized them all in the first
Get
place.
off that
And-
land.
And then they're going to take it all. Then that's where it's going to be. You own nothing and be happy.
That's right.
Well, we're not going to be happy. The thing is, the way that we're putting it, where we have set up and
Yes.
going forwards with this,
Yeah.
they didn't expect this to happen. Okay, so with us, there's going to be, and also all other unceded lands and territories.
Yep.
They're not going to be under that control, and that's where the whole thing falls apart for them.
Yeah.
They didn't expect for this to happen, but the thing is, we're in a very unique situation to do this here. We'll be able to help the other band members and other.
Not if they surrender their land, we won't.
Well, okay. Well, how about other different
on-
locations?
They're on their own. What I'm saying is that people have, and I tried. They ordered me off the property and oh yeah, they're gonna pull the gun out or skin me. And they sent us a warning, a letter to stop, okay, because they're so terrified that their deal with the government is gonna fall apart and they're not gonna be guaranteed what the government says they're gonna give them, right? It was the same thing as that, wasn't it Sandy last week? They brought the girl that brought up from, that was here, brought up about how the band councils, you can't talk to them.
Right.
They believe everything that they're being told, just the same way as their forefathers believed everything when the settlers come over, when the crown come
Is
over
it because
here.
their flockers are getting lined?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're lined their flock, yeah.
No, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, I get it.
they're repeating history.
Yeah.
Because when they came over here in the first place, all these other bands surrendered all their chunk of land to them in return for, we call it the guaranteed income, right?
Yeah, a lot of them are not working.
No. So
They don't
so
want to lose
now
that gravy train.
so now they realize that if they destroy all the farmland, which they're trying to do, build homes faster for who we don't know, because no locals can buy them. So if they destroy all that, and now if they can get hold of the land that's on the reservations as well, then they've got control of all the land in the country.
What is the big land grab?
Yeah,
that's what's
it's
going
a
on.
huge land grab.
Okay.
Okay,
Hey,
and
we
this
can
is,
we can continue this next week.
yeah, and this is,
There's a big.
yeah, this is big. There'll be more to come on this one.
Yeah.
Right? I have some more things we got planned.
Yeah, brewing up.
Yeah, they're brewing. So anyways, we'll let, any other questions before I zip? Are we
Have you
good?
got a list of those treaties? Because they can be useful.
I have a list of the treaties. I have the treaty book, on the 133 bands that signed the treaties in Ontario alone. So there's 133 bands that gave up their lands. Okay. And I have the treaty book in detail. It's about yay thick.
Can you
Okay.
make that into a PDF file?
Can you do that?
Absolutely.
I'll give a copy because I have to, yeah, because we have to use it for my submission when I do the constitutional argument, right? But yeah, we can make it into it.
I'll make sure you get a
Is
copy
that
of
Claudia?
that. No, it's Stan,
Stan,
right?
sorry, Stan.
I hope so.
Well, yeah. Oh, okay. We have a couple other individuals that want to ask questions. So we'll start off with Darcy. Can you, I'll add you here for a second with your question.
Oh, Claudio was first.
There we
Oh,
go.
I'm so
I
sorry.
knew he'd be ready. Come on.
Yeah, thank you.
No, and no, he did that and see that it's supposed to be that way, Darcy, women first.
Ladies first.
Hey, we'll just have you all up right here. So
So if
Go ahead.
I'm hearing you right,
Yep.
you got a massive corporation called Ontario.
Yep.
Discussing things with a somewhat smaller corporation called Kawartha Lakes,
Yeah.
who's
Yep.
connected to a smaller corporation called the Different Bands.
No,
So
no,
the big corporation gives the Ontario Kawartha Lakes Corporation money because they're all answering to each other. Then you got the small band corporations that have formed that are getting money from there. Is that correct?
correct. But
Okay.
but the bands
So-
are getting federal money. Federal
Yeah,
Okay.
it's federal. It's not from the town or the
Okay.
province.
Okay. So you got the people's money going up to the federal level,
Yep.
trickling down a bit to the provincial level, trickling down to the Kawartha, trickling
Yes.
down to the peoples of the corporation bands.
No. It has to go from federal to the band.
That's correct. Claudia's right.
Okay. So the federal money is going straight to the bands, the great big given to the little tiny, but ultimately that's all corporate stuff. So the people of those bands, not their elected chiefs or anything, but those men and women from those bands can go to their chiefs and ask them, well, where's my contract with you to allow you to do any of this, just like we are at their municipalities? It's no different. There's no contract between the men and women and their band. Now, some will agree, and that's fine. Some will agree, but probably the majority of them, that once you educate them, they won't have any power because the power is within the people. And I just wanted to say that. I wanted to be clear that's how it works.
Yep, but can I just interject there just on that note? The problem is, if you've ever dealt with the Mennonite community, that the bishop or the order speaks for all the people, or you're kicked out, it's the same effect. If, like with us, when we went on to the Mississauga on Scugog Island, the chief comes out, it's up on our thing. I never even got out of the vehicle. Get off my property, you're gonna be charged, I'm phoning the police. And I'm going, well, that's a great reaction, right? Because what's going on is all the band councils are taking control of what the rest of the people are being told, and you can't get access to those people to talk to them. Okay, they have controlled everything, if you know what I'm saying.
So
So
then,
it's you got to be on it to see it. I know you
so then
can't.
all the bands have become dictatorships and their people have no voice.
100%.
Basically, yeah. It goes through the Indian Act, and then you join in the band, you apply to cooperate with the band, and therefore, okay, if you're cooperating with them, you've given up control.
Yes, 100%. They've duplicated the municipal process onto every reserve.
It's concentrated.
Yep.
So what you've got is a band council and a chief, but you have an administrative band council that deals strictly with the municipal offices and their staff. The band and the chief are the last ones to be consulted, the same way that in your municipality, the CAOs talk to each other and decide what they're going to do to non-native and First Nation people.
That's the UN's boot on the grounds right
Yes,
there.
that's it.
Well, then it still goes back to the same thing where the people have to stand up and say, we're not contracting with you.
That's right.
And I'm agreeing with you, but the problem is, if they stand up, they get cut off of money. They have nowhere to go. They have control.
They got you.
The band has control of the money. It doesn't come to individual people, that support. The chunk of money goes to the band council first. And they take out their allotment, what they want to do. And then whatever is left is divided. The only money, and correct me, Claudia, if you know, the only money that the individual people, the women would get, would be child support. And it's approximately $900 per child per month. So I'm not sure that that money is administrated. I don't know this for sure, whether it's administrated through the band council or whether it comes directly from the federal government to each one of those people. Okay.
Direct from the federal government.
Okay. So they would get $900. See, theoretically, on the band, on the reserve, they don't even own their house. It belongs to the band council.
Yep.
So they can inject them out of there anytime they want to if they start getting, should we say, aggressive, right? It's actually a worse dictatorship than what we're living in, right? And you can't imagine it, and it's entrenched since the Indian Act was put in place in I think it was late 1800, early 19s, when the Indian Act was formed, when they formed the reservations. That's when they brought in the Indian Act. So they've been bred, okay, to follow what the band and the chief say.
Yeah.
If you challenge them, you're out. And it's that, or they cut you off of funds. It's not nice, I'm telling you. So they've got them just like a puppy dog, right? And if anybody, I know friends that challenge them and they put them out of the reserve at Curve Lake.
Yep.
You take a look at any band area, you're gonna any reserve, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see the first and then third class.
You're gonna see it. Poverty like no poverty you can believe, right? And yet the chief and the band council are living in mansions, and they're driving caddies and limos and taking trips to the Bahamas, and they own the gas stations. They own everything that's on, where it's making money. That's their little show.
And next it'll be all a reserve. So that's where it's heading to. So that's why we need to stand up and take control.
That's why we're saying, and there's I think another couple of bands or a couple of unceded territories still in Ontario that aren't under the Indian Act and they're not part of that. So that gives us hope. And we're not gonna convince, the bands that are on the reserves because they've been on basic income since they were born. This is they're saying guaranteed income for life. And the people that are in power will stay in power over those people. But they can't see any farther. It's the same scenario that they did to them in the 17, when they signed the Williams Treaty. They said, oh, no, we're gonna give you a bigger piece of land. Oh, we're gonna allow you to hunt and fish and trap. And then when they did it, they said, no, you can't. Read the fine print, right?
Claudio, you have your hand up.
Sorry, Claudio.
No, that's okay.
Yeah,
No, that's all right. No, don't say sorry. Forgive me.
I'm pretty well right on, aren't I? I'm 100% on the money.
100%.
Claudio has a face.
Where are you, Dallas?
All right, Claudio, good to see your face.
Yeah.
Same here, brothers. Love what you guys do. It's so invigorating. We're working on helping a brother that's 73 years old that is being thrown out of his house. It might happen today.
And whereabouts is he?
He's on your land.
He's in in Kawartha?
No, he's on. You guys got a map of all your area?
Yes.
If I can share your screen, because this is divine. Okay, this is happening for a reason. It's a friend of a friend, so I don't know the guy. Just met him.
Okay.
So I'd like to share my screen here for a second.
Yeah, I can actually.
That requires permission.
No, I got it's open right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So hang on, let me go to here. All right. So I superimposed your map over top of the map, and there's his land right there. There's his house on your land.
48. Oh, he's on 48 Highway. Okay.
401, just
401. So where is
On
he?
57 Commons Drive.
Clarington? Where is it, Greg?
No, see, what? Well, look right here. It's right here.
It's friggin'
in
south of Markham.
Oh, he's over by Markham. Yeah, there's Markham, Stouffville. So he's over by Keswick. Is he?
No, you're down further.
Too far?
Look,
Right here.
yeah.
So
Keswick's further north, dude.
So his address is up in the.
do you have, where's his address?
Right there. 57 Commons Drive.
Write that
In
down.
it's East York.
So he's in East Gwillimbury?
Right. So I want to know why you want to kick him out.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
Right.
But he's East Gwillimbury.
yeah. He's get the address.
Because if he's north of
They call everything
Newmarket,
Toronto.
that'd be
nowadays.
East Gwillimbury.
Okay.
So I got this Kawartha First Nation map off your Facebook. So I'm assuming
I
that
got
they're
that.
on your land. It's your land.
He's got it superimposed over.
I
Yes.
think he's on O'Connor Drive.
Perfect. So what you're saying
If you
is,
can hear me, he's on O'Connor Drive.
O'Connor Drive.
Yeah, so that's near Markham, Ontario. It's not in
Oh, is
East
that Jeff?
Gwillimbury.
Yeah, it's
He's
not,
on O'Connor Drive.
it's not East York. I saw your message the other day, Claudio. I sent you a message on Facebook. That's a totally different municipality.
yep.
Okay. This is what I was told he was living on 757. So Steve, you went by there?
Yeah, I wrote it down. Yeah.
We didn't go by yet. We haven't gone
It
by.
says,
I'm sorry, I meant there's another Steve.
Sorry, it says 57 Commons Drive. Is that the location?
It might be O'Connor. Now that's what he's saying. So I'm gonna find out and then
Yeah, I believe it's O'Connor Drive.
It is O'Connor.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in East York.
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, that's what I meant. The Toronto is one thing, and then the other area is totally York region, different.
Yes. So it's not in our area then.
It's not? 57.
Might be, he's in Scarborough.
Oh, there it is. I got it.
If it's in Scarborough, so it's at the other end.
Yeah, that's Jeff.
It's at the south end then.
Yeah, because East York's normally considered the west side of Toronto area.
Okay,
Like
York,
that
York.
sounds like, you know, that counselor Lisa Robinson that got kicked out of the council or can't comment. That's almost her territory, almost near Pickering down that way, probably.
It's about 5 miles from her. Or
There you
7,
go.
7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. Maybe she could help with this a little bit. I don't know. Just FYI.
Well, I think Dallas was helping her this morning. Him.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know the details of of the issue. That's what I was curious about, Claudio. Could you tell us what's going on? Because I didn't know if it was for taxes or expropriation or something else that we didn't know, zoning.
Right. Yeah, I'll explain in 1 second, but I just want to say, is this, I want to just double check to see if this is still in your area.
If
It's
in-
right
if-
here.
Yeah, if it's in Pickering, if it's in
No.
Pickering,
No,
York.
Richard Stouffville's in York region,
Yeah,
because I've been there lots of times for council
Stouffville's in
meetings.
York, yeah, Stouffville's in York region.
Yeah.
York,
East York is a former municipality, and Scarborough is a former municipality, as is North York and so on and so forth. It's all amalgamated in 98 to Toronto.
Yeah.
Sandra, thanks, Sandra.
thanks, Andrew. But
You're welcome.
so I don't know whether we can assist. We might be able to assist in way of clarification, right?
We'll get the
I
contact.
think Dallas has been assisting him. He was on assisting him this morning. I think his name is Plavna, if I remember correctly.
It's Pavel, and here's what's
Pavel.
happening with him. His wife left him many years ago. They settled out the account, right? They split everything in half, whatever. And then all of a sudden she went after him for a whole bunch more money.
Come in the back
And
door.
he never, yeah. And then the judge just ruled without him,
He never
right? He
filed
didn't
it.
show up to court.
Gotcha. He didn't
The
file.
judge ruled without him, and now they're saying sell your house, or else we're yanking you out.
So what he should do, what he should have done, and what he still might be able to do, is bring a motion, because he was never served properly, and he'd have to argue. It all depends what the timeline is, but it's worth a try. If he goes to Osgood Hall and he files an emergency motion to be heard, that he wants to submit his evidence now, then that would stay the proceeding.
Okay.
Once he gets that filed, and you got to go to Osgood Hall in order to do it. And once you've done it, then it stays the whole proceedings until the matter is heard.
Okay. All right.
That's the easiest way to deal with it, and the quickest.
Okay. Thanks, brother.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, this is why we need to be doing this more and more every time. Like, come out on every Monday so we can share this information. Like, you got any stories? Again, you know where to email. Sue them at kltpa.ca, or come straight here and share your story just live.
Yeah, and I'll interject a bit more. If he's been served notice to vacate from the bailiff, notify the bailiff and inform the bailiff of what's happened. And a lot of times the bailiff will not invoke it. He won't enforce it. Okay? But the nice part is that if you tell him that you're going to file the motion, then normally the bailiff will back off, right? Because he doesn't want to get in a bigger mess, right?
Well, our strategy is this. First and foremost, the sheriff is going to show up there to seize his property. So now the sheriff's going to show up there. Is it an original from the judge with a wet ink signature? If it's not the original, not a copy. If it's a copy, it has no jurisdiction. It has to be the original with the wet signature from the judge. And if they do have the wet signature from the judge, then he leaves peacefully and he says, I'm not abandoning my house. I will follow your direction. And then he will go in there and do a breach, which means they had no authority to hurt a man. That is a fictional character created by the corporation, which has no jurisdiction on that man. Start there, learn that, focus on that. Because when you go to court, you are throwing yourself into an alligator pit. And once you're in an alligator pit, most individuals can never handle themselves in a courtroom because they get frightened, they get scared. And secondly is they're intimidated. You never want to go to court because once you go to court, you've already given up 99.9% of what you are. We stop you from going to court, file for jurisdiction, show proof of claim where you have any authority over me as a man. Start there. We educate that. And that's what I have to say on that one.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, Dallas. But at this point, the courts don't recognize that. So
that's why we don't go to court, because once you go to court, you are invisible. You're actually asking them to beat you with a great big stick called the ugly stick. There's a thing called a fishing stick called the ugly stick, and that's why you never got any fish. I use dynamite because dynamite gets me fish.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you, Dallas. I'm just saying.
There's stepping back. That's the procedure we're going with right now with this 73-year-old man who's been unjustly and illegally and unlawfully attacked. And right now, it worked out well for him today. He never got removed from his presence. And tomorrow we'll talk to him again, and we're going to move in. And by the way, your boundaries of your nation, my understanding is that each nation of the originals, not First Nations, because when you say First Nations, you're entrapping yourself under the globalist system. You are original of the land. It's unsurrendered land. It's not United Nations unceded land. When you say United Nations ceded land, United Nations ceded this land. It's unsurrendered land. And that's powerful words. You have to remember their wording is very, very critical. And by the way, when a treaty's signed with two people, when they both die, that contract is dead. So guess what?
That's right.
Every contract's dead.
Yes.
Makes sense? I just thought I'd add that in there because I know we're all working for the same solution, and we're all working. So you as a neighbor to this young man there who's 73 years old, he's still your neighbor. And guess what? Maybe we should go camp down at his house for the next 2 weeks and educate the neighbors in his street that this man's a good man.
I need
Right.
protection.
Can I share my screen? Because I put the new location up, which is even more interesting and synchronistic. Check this out. Check this out. Like this is like divine, man. Like it's right on the corner of where your land goes.
Actually, it goes down, and the map broke up, but
Yeah, actually, it goes down right to the river, right to the lake, Ontario,
to that point.
to this point. Yeah, it actually goes down.
Yeah,
there.
I'll have to.
So this map is not up like up. So it's like right there, eh?
Yeah, it just broke off from the graphic. Sorry, maybe I just need to update that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So his property looks like it's on your land.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I would actually like to see, and this would be a good test for Dallas's theory in practice to be applied here in Ontario and see how the judicial system deals with it.
100%.
I'm just saying it's perfect, and I'm not going to interfere, unless we have to interfere. Okay?
Gotcha.
Unless we have to do the second step. Okay, but we're
Right,
gonna
and I wasn't expecting you guys to do anything. I just wanted to communicate over communication, right?
yes, make us aware of it. Appreciate that. But I want to let
Thank
Dallas.
you.
I want to let his theory try. Let's try it and let's see if it gets results. Right.
100%.
We always got the back.
Yeah, we want to do it. We want to do a paper war, so to speak, a loving paper war, and win that way.
Yeah, I got accused of that today. That's why they blocked me.
Okay, we're gonna get Stan.
We're good. Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot, Claudio. Thanks for getting that information to us.
Yeah, thanks, Dallas. It's all helpful. You know.
Hey, can I climb in on something here?
Sure.
It's Rick.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, just give it I'll give you 2 minutes, then we gotta get going here. Where's Rick?
This is real quick. This is real quick. If they've got a court or a judge saying that he's got to get out of his house, right? How much money is his ex coming after him for? That would be one of my first questions. And the second is that if they are going to take his house, then he's been in the house and he's been maintaining it, paying property taxes and upkeep and everything. He has to be reimbursed for that. Now, we all know the judges pull numbers out of thin air, and he could put any amount of money that she may be coming after him for and say, okay, fine, you pay me that amount of money, then I'll move out. That's just it's kind of turning the tables 180%, 180 degrees, right? That's what
Right.
he's kind of got to do.
And the other angle that we have is with Brady, where we turn them around to be trustee and they pay her and he keeps the house.
Yeah, trustee always pays.
Right. So, and Brady's already successfully done that. Whoever wants a copy of that, I can share the Google link here. We're calling it the Brady Files, where he went in there and he turned everything around. They started calling him by his first name.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I know these guys got to go, so I don't want to belabor it.
Yeah. All right, I'm out.
No, that's good. You know what? Yeah. Okay. So, you want to turn on? All right. So, hey, you know what? We've had quite an event of information. We have our special guest. All right. Put your hands together for Stan McDonald. All right. Now, hey, Stan McDonald, he's words of understanding, of knowing what weasel words are. And if you can find him on YouTube, just look for Stan McDonald. That's STAN. All right. McDonald's McDonald. Actually, he just had a great show on just last Thursday with Richard Volbs, and he's in the UK. So you want to take a look at his video there that he went with Stan. That would be a really one to take a look at. But you know, I will be putting some videos and links to the videos on the bottom of here, the ones you should be taking a look at. Speaking about municipal acts, speaking about council tax, or like in UK, he's very well versed in UK, Canada, US. So without further ado, Sam McDonald.
Woo! Good evening, people. If you're not sleeping yet, write this down. I want to set up a thing with Steve next weekend, next Saturday, next Sunday.
Okay.
Basically, I'm going to come visit, and you guys can ask me whatever you want. If you want certain topics covered, I'll try and do my best for you. I don't know what everybody's background is, so I want to bring everybody up to what I know, basically, so we can all start at a level playing field. Because there'll be some new people that don't know what we know, and there'll be old people, yeah, that we know that. But eventually, we'll get to new stuff, and hopefully, we can tackle these monsters. That's basically where we're at. Because there's some people, they get a document, and I know one gal today, I was talking to her, and she just was, well, she was told to throw the paperwork in a corner somewhere, don't worry about it. And they proceeded ex parte, and they froze her bank account and did all kinds of stuff. And you know, this monarchy's gone on long enough, right? It's getting worse. And the one gentleman said, well, we appoint them the trustee. I would like to know the basis of that case. Was that a municipal case or mortgage case? What was it? You know, it might be beneficial to know that, because when you go into court, as the one gentleman pointed out, you've given up most of your rights. In fact, all of your rights. Because the only reason you're there is because you couldn't settle your differences previous. So what you want to do is you want to ask them or tell them in your correspondence that this is not to create controversy. Because what they'll do a lot of times when you write to the municipality, you write them something, or you write to the bank or whoever, and they'll say, we've taken your complaint. Okay? And we have a complaints process. You're not complaining about anything. You're simply asking questions. So there is no complaint. You're not trying to create controversy. And so if you are only asking a question, well, why do we need to go to court? And if you do a process where you give them a chance to, you know, answer your questions, and you make sure they're questions they can't answer, then you can get them on tacit consent, because they don't object to what you're doing. They don't like it, but they don't know how to answer it. And if they don't answer it, silence is acquiescence. And in the UK, there's a thing called a pre-action protocol, which is similar to what you guys call a notarial protest, or the 3-letter method. It's the same thing. So we ask them some questions, and I gave them a free-for-all. Answer this whatever way you want. And I gave them 30 days to answer it, and they didn't do it. And when they didn't do it, I wrote back to them and said, well, you didn't answer this in 30 days, so here's the way I answered. Now you've got 10 days to turn around and answer this. Because if you can answer this, then we can go from there. And what did they do? They hired a lawyer with my first paperwork. And I told the lawyer, and there's a legal maxim that the lawyer's not allowed to meddle in matters that is not pertaining to them, which basically shuts the legal system down. Now, I don't think that's gonna be the be all end all and that'll be the end of it, obviously. But how can a lawyer turn around and testify to anything when they don't have firsthand knowledge of the event? So everything they say in court is hearsay evidence. And who's to say their client said the truth? So when I wrote my letter back to them, I said, okay, I don't care if the lawyer's involved because they've already disclosed private information. That's privity of contract. So what do they do? So now in this case, I'm dealing with a bank, a mortgage. So in this case, the mortgage company turned around and violated the Privacy Act because under their own paperwork, it says, don't discuss this with anyone. Okay, well, if I can't discuss it, then they can't discuss it. All are supposed to be equal under the law. Then the lawyer wrote back and wrote me some crap, and I sent them back 20 pages worth of paperwork, 38 questions that they can't answer. If they answer any one of them questions, it screws them up. But it's a domino effect. I pulled out the MasterCard and the whole house of cards comes down. So what did they do? They did nothing. They won't answer my paperwork, so they've agreed. And so then the lawyer writes back and says in my paperwork, they said, well, you didn't try to settle this previously. Yet I've been trying to settle this thing since December. So either the lawyer didn't do what I told them, go get the paperwork from your client, because I don't intend to resend it to them, or their client didn't tell them the truth. And I have a copy of the actual contract and can show where they're breaching the contract. So when I send that back to the lawyer now, I've got the lawyer not only for accepting paperwork which doesn't pertain to them, and they might give an argument, so you sent it to us. Yeah, well, if I don't respond, I get screwed. But B, your client you either didn't get the paperwork from your client or you didn't do your due diligence and they were not willing to have a meeting. Well, now that I'm supposed to mediate before litigate, I forced them to have a meeting. Whether they're going to do it or not, who knows? But if they don't do it, it only looks better for me, right? Because I'm trying to settle this matter privately. So I've asked them 26 questions or whatever they can, or 38 questions, whatever it is, that they can't answer. Now, one of the gentlemen here said, appoint them the fiduciary. That when you walk into a court, the judge is supposed to be the trustee. But what he does is he makes himself out to be the beneficiary. So when you do your paperwork, make sure you put on there that you, in fact, are the beneficiary. See, in a trust, that's when you go in a court, you're in a trust situation. There's only 3 parties to a trust. There's the grantor, person that set it up, basically. Then there's the beneficiary, that hopefully is you, and that's what you want. And then there's the trustee to administer the trust. There's nobody else. So if you've already established that you're not going to be the trustee, and in fact, the court's the trustee, people have tried this and it sometimes backfires because people say you need a mental evaluation because they don't want you exposing the truth.
First, you have to find out what the status is of the judge.
That's right.
Okay, let's not forget about what the judge is. And if you find out what his status is, then you make the decision to have him the trustee. Now, and again, you want to get into the bonds of the court. And again, you have to have standing if you're going to challenge them. In other words, if you take a lawyer in, forget it, because he works for the bar. He's part of the corrupt system. But once you find out what the judge's position is, then you can appoint him the trustee. In other words, he's not working for the crown and he's not working for you. He has to be fair. And to a great degree, most judges are. And I've used it a couple times and it's worked out well for me. I'm not saying it's going to work every time, but you do have to understand what his oath is, whether it's an oath, whether it's a declaration, and all these factors come into play whereby you can challenge them on it. And if you're not happy, there's no meeting of the minds and you walk. You don't deal with it. Because there's nothing that they can come after you for because you're the grantor. It's your property that they're trying to pick apart.
I don't know if you are the grantor. Let's have a debate on that one because your property is registered falsely because it was without full disclosure with the municipality. So they think they own it. So does the bank if it's a mortgage contract.
Put it into a bar trust. A real estate trust.
But if it's involved already in a legal battle, you can't move it because that's fraudulent conveyance.
Okay, if that be it the case, now I know you're not a big fan of all capital letters and upper and lower case and forget all that bullshit, but the bottom line is amongst yourself, if you are a corporation and a private citizen, have the corporation give you the cursive name, the property.
You could, but it's still recorded. And this actually is a good debate. I'm glad everybody's on the board.
Matters not because it's still like if you own the name, the all caps name, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I've got a piece of property here and it's registered in the all caps name.
Yep.
Now I told the lawyer that I used to deal with the property, they only teach these people what they want them to know. But we know that you can go back in history and you know those people weren't around to change history. They can't change history. So if you go into them and you ask them about allodial titles or perfected deeds or any of this stuff, they have no idea. So I said to my lawyer, I said, just go ahead and do it however you wish. I'll straighten it out. Because I was not there to teach her what they should have taught her in school.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is if with the all capital name, and it does go back to your birth certificate, I being the authorized person, I can sign a check on the the bottom of the check for that straw man up in the left hand corner of a check. I'm the authorized signature. So if that be it the case, I can say, okay, the straw man's registered my land. So in other words, the municipalities think they own it or the courts or the province or whoever. But because I'm the authorized representative to that straw man, I do draft up a document or a declaration and I authorize that straw man to put my land into my cursive name, my born name. Now, I've done this on a few documents, and every time that I've challenged them on it, they have written back to me, the human flesh and blood, in cursive, not all capital letters. So the corporation can talk to the man, the living man, and I've got it in proof. I've got it right from the envelope that's handwritten by them, not typed out in all block letters. But
right, but is your property still registered to that all uppercase name?
Absolutely. But the thing is, what I'm saying is I can draft up a land transfer to me as a cursive or a private person, and then turn around and put that into a trust, whatever I want to do, because they're going after the corporate name, the corporate entity. Right? They're not coming after you, the private person, but you are the authorized person that can go and change that.
Yeah, well, when they do it here, at least in Ontario, I don't know where you're at, but
I'm in Ontario.
Okay.
I'm 10 miles from Bill.
Oh, okay, good. No, because when they do it here, the local municipality, I had tried to confirm this, and I did confirm it. When you change your, let's say you're single, just to make it easy.
I am.
And then, okay, you're single, good. Now you get involved with somebody, and then you get married or whatever. And if you put their name on the title document,
you don't do that.
You don't know, but let's say you did. So I'm just giving you a scenario so you see where it goes. Now, if you don't notify the municipality, it doesn't matter, because what they do is they go to the land registry and they find out that she's on title too, so then you're both liable. So they don't go through their records, they go through the registry. Now, if the registry is still to that uppercase name and you've transferred into a trust with a document, at the end of the day, maybe you can answer this for me because I don't have the answer. At the end of the day, let's say it's in the trust. It's called 123. Who cares? Now, they turn around and they attack the uppercase name, which is you. And let's say you didn't put your wife, girlfriend, or whoever she is, into your trust. They're going to write to that capitalized name. Now, you as the individual, because you have to talk for the corporation, it can't talk. It's freaking friction. So they send this thing to you, and at the end of the day, you still have to answer for it in some way, shape, or form. Because if you disregard their document, then they're just gonna proceed ex parte and you're gonna get screwed. And they're
Well,
gonna try and foreclose on the property or whatever.
yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. Okay. Um, we know that the post office is the ultimate seal, correct?
Yep.
Okay, that's the top seal. So if you get something and knowing where it's coming from and what it's pertaining to,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so here's a nice, pretty little package. Would you care to sign for this? No. Now what?
Okay. Now, if you refuse it, then they'll turn around and they'll get it back probably, and then
That's
they'll
right.
send it back to you by courier.
Oh, send it by courier if you want. Because
Okay, but you're still not responding to their paperwork. So now, because you keep sending it back to them,
no. The thing is, once you open it, you own it.
yeah, that's true. But
Okay.
there's also a thing under the postal system, under the legal side of crap, their legal crap, that says that if we've mailed it, you're deemed to have received it within 5 days. So if you do like the lady that I was talking to earlier at 4 o'clock this afternoon, she didn't bother answering any of her paperwork. Nothing was sent registered. And they went to the court and they said, Your Honor, this person doesn't seem to be responding to our paperwork. We want to proceed ex parte, and the judge granted it. And actually, they froze their bank account. So just refusing paperwork is not going to solve your problem.
That's true. Because
It won't work that way.
I went through the same thing.
Yep.
After a period of time, it's considered that they've attempted to make every avenue to contact you, and that they can carry on. And if you're not in the courtroom when they carry on, then you're done because you don't even know what went on.
If you don't respond, Rick, if you don't respond, it's a tacit agreement. So if you did not responding to them, you've accepted.
You're screwing yourself.
You accepted your default, which means you're incompetent. You're an imbecile. You can't not represent yourself.
Hold on.
No, I'm serious.
You have to. I've seen people do it.
You have to use. Listen. Everybody's working in the same direction here. I do not like to give out false information. If you give out false information, people will listen to false information. Is use an individual proof of claim of ownership. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your letter.
I agree.
Now, if they send you a letter and you do not respond to that letter, it's called tacit agreement. You lose everything because you didn't respond. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. You know why? We have some of the most brilliant men in this room tonight. And I'm going to tell you, we have a collection of a lot of great people working in the same direction. We're all going to work together. We're going to make mistakes. But at the end of the day, we're going to come to work 5, 6, 10 plans to defeat the system to benefit us all. So we do not want to ever tacit agreement. I'm listening. I'm listening. But remember one thing.
My point.
I heard your point.
No, you didn't. By not accepting the letter, yes, it does go back. This allows you time too. Okay? Whether your birth certificate is copyrighted and now you own the straw man name, that gives you the jurisdiction to make those calls and have that corrected in the land registry office. Yes, I understand about vacating and the judge can order whatever. I've had a bailiff in my yard wanting to take a side-by-side that I bought and I put into my name legally. And the bank all of a sudden decided to put a lien on it because the guy that I bought it from decided he wasn't going to pay for it. Well, I said, well, isn't that strange? I says, when I registered the thing, they should have told me there was a lien on it, but they put it in my name. They give me a license plate and a sticker. And I says, who's the bank that put the lien on it? So he gave me the contact name. I called him up and I said, what's going on? She says, well, you know, the loan, we've got a lien against that machine and we want our machine back. And I said, well, okay, here's how I'll play the game. You'll have to pay storage on that machine for the length of time that I've had it because I've had it for X number of days. She said, well, what's the storage on it? And I said, well, it's like this, sweetheart. If I go downtown and I park my car at a meter and they charge me what the hell is it? $2 an hour. Okay, there's 24 hours a day. That's $48 a day. And now I've had this machine for over 365 days. So you want to give me $20,000 in back storage, and you can come and get your $12,000 machine. I haven't heard a word from them. Learn to turn the table on these people. That's what I'm saying. And if you do that, it works. That's all I got to say. I know it works. I've done it firsthand. I pulled that when I went through my legal separation. And here's one for you. You
So
want
Rick, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
We have Stan in tonight on the room here.
Who?
I'd like to. We have Stan here tonight. He's a special guest tonight. So
I
want to shut up and I want to hear what Stan has for solutions and some ideas.
Oh, he's got a great video.
So let's let Stan talk to people and give him some time tonight, because I think a lot of people came here tonight to listen to Stan. I'm looking forward to hearing what he has for solutions and ideas.
Okay, let's quiet down.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
There's no problem. We're all in this rat race together, and some solution that I may have, somebody else may have a little nugget, or maybe we can sway something and somebody else has a nugget. We're all trying to build the same castle, right?
Yeah.
One they can't penetrate.
Yeah.
But what I did in the last video that you guys, some of you may have seen it, when I looked at it, everything in the statute, we'll just call it law, even though it isn't, but everything within the law, for lack of a better term, it's all defined. Mostly when you look at the statutes, they're all defined and they tell you what certain words mean. Now, a lot of times they don't tell you what certain words mean. So one of the things that helps people is if they turn around and look at the Interpretations Act. Now, when we look at the Interpretations Act, if we look up, at least in the UK, I don't know Canada, I haven't done it yet. But anyway, they look up the word person and they find out it says a body corporate, incorporated or unincorporated. So therefore, if you use that argument, the court doesn't have jurisdiction to deal with you because you are not a corporation. As the one gentleman pointed out, you're working on behalf of the corporation. Okay? And that corporation was created by the government. So whoever said earlier tonight that you're the grantor, no, you aren't. You didn't set that name up, at least in my opinion. I mean, you can have your own opinion, that's fine. But if it was made in our name and our signature creates the value to anything we do, because a contract without a signature is basically worth nothing. Now, in the case of a mortgage, okay, if you're given a mortgage, if Steve hands me a mortgage because he's typing it out as I see him typing there, then turns around and what's it worth when it comes across and I see it? Nothing until I sign it, which makes me the creditor. And that happens with every contract we ever do, right? We're the creditor in all contracts because without our signature, contract is not really worth much. So that makes the other side the debtor. But the problem in doing this is you now have to prove that, right? Well, so you can do it under GAAP, GAAP, General Accepted Accounting Practices. Now, I was in contact with Steve earlier because I've been dealing with all kinds of different problems, different people's things. And I asked him, I says, can you prove to me that banks don't loan any of their own money? Because it's fractional reserve banking. And everybody points to the idea, let's just turn around and use the banker's manual or the Chicago's banker's manual. Well, that's fine and good in Chicago or maybe in the United States. And I know theoretically it applies the same in Canada. But the thing is, Canada has different laws. They have the Fair Credit Reporting Act. We don't. You know, they have HJR 192. We don't. So I said to him, well, that's all fine and good. So then he fired off some paperwork and he proved it applies in England. So I wrote back to him. I said, now you proved it applies in England. We still didn't prove it applies in Canada. So then he came back about 20 minutes later or whatever it was. And he said, here it is. And he gave it to me. I said, hallelujah. So that solves the problem with all bank mortgages. And sometimes, you know, if you ask the right guy the right questions, and if the guy's determined like Steve is, then he'll dig at it until he figures it out. And sometimes, you know, you ask the right person, they just happen to get lucky and bang, there's the information. Right? I remember working on a case and I couldn't find Regulation 519, which is under the IEEE. And I said, I can't find this damn thing. I looked for it for months. I asked a friend of mine, they were sitting there and said, here you go. Within 2 minutes, they had it. And his reason is partly depends on where you search. If you're in a different part of the country or different part of the land, and you do a Google search, you're going to get different results. And that IEEE standard was actually for electrical stuff to deal with 5G. And we proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, and there's another video that talks about that. Actually, it's another one on Richard Bogue's show. And it talks about the harmonics from the smart meters. There's also things on my YouTube channel say the same thing. So, you know, if we could fix a few things, we can't fix everything. There's too many problems. But we could fix the municipality from having problems, or from being able to have control over our property, because a lot of people's property are getting taken over. Or if we could fix mortgages, that would go a long way towards freeing up some capital so we could actually survive. Now, one of the things that I would like to cover on next weekend, because I'm setting a date, that way there's no floating back and forth, I would like to go over that. But Steve, I'm going to put Steve on the hot seat in there. If there's anything else that you guys want covered, send him an email and tell him what you'd like me to cover. If I can do it, I will, because I intend to make a slide presentation. Steve's got the technology to make that happen, right? And we're going to do it for our slide presentation. I don't care if we spend 2 days doing this. And I'm inviting everybody, because I don't have all the answers, and nobody here has all the answers. But collectively, we're a hell of a lot stronger than if we're individual. And one of the things I would like to shut down is mortgages and the municipality. I've been dealing with the municipality for 38 years, and I kept them at bay. But I've sent paperwork into the court, massive amounts of paperwork. I proved everything I said, and the judge didn't care. Now, the one gentleman today was talking earlier there about he was going to file an appeal, and the chief was there. The problem with the appeal process is it's no longer held at Osgo Hall unless they've changed it back. Because I went there to file an appeal, and in my case, the court, they're supposed to give you your transcript within 30 days if you ask for it. It took them 8 months, and what they provided wasn't even a complete transcript. It was redacted, and there was parts missing, stuff cut off, didn't make sense. And I went there, and they said you had to file it within 6 months. Well, if it took them 8 months to give me the damn transcript, it makes it a little hard to do 6 months now, doesn't it? So anybody that goes in, okay, anybody that goes into the system, record your own court case. You're allowed to do it. They're going to say you're not. That's garbage. That's crap. You can record your own court case.
Stan, you can go down, like in Lindsay Court, you can either get the paper transcript or you can get your transcript on voicemail live. So they put it on a stick for you for $35. And that's the whole day's deliberations between the parties.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the way they work it in Belleville is you put in the paperwork, and then when they get it for you, then you pay them and pick it up. But what I picked up was not the complete transcript.
That's why if you get the voice one, it is the complete transcript. It's not edited. It's actually, that's what I do. I don't get the paper one because it's too expensive. So I just get the recorded voice transcript for $35.
Or just record it yourself.
Okay, I'll ask for that then. I'll try that. Maybe they throw it out by now. My case is a little old.
No, they still keep it on file because it's recorded. So if you take your file number in and go into the downstairs into PA, you're going to PAO or you're going to which court level?
Yep. Yeah, it was Superior Court. Superior Court in my case.
Yep. So
because I had another case in Toronto, and I was right after the trial, right? Because it was done over Zoom, which is another thing that's illegal. Because you don't even know who you're talking to. But anyway, I went into the court, went back to the court the next day, and I said, I'd like a transcript. And they said, you're not allowed. The judge sealed the case. And this was over a municipal matter. They sealed the case. So I wrote to a certified court transcriptionist. There's a list of them. You pick one, and then you send them.
Yep.
And they said, your trial didn't happen on this date. You got the wrong court, the wrong judge. And I said, well, here's where I screen recorded it because it was done over Zoom. I said, here's the picture of the judge. Here's the date of the trial because it comes up. I said, so there's the trial date. There's this. There's the file number. There's me. And there's the court file number. So I said, that simplifies it all. Now go get my transcript. And she said, we're not permitted to do that. They sealed it. Judge Dumpy. I don't care if the people know it. Right? They sealed it, and I can't get my own transcript. And unfortunately, I tried to record it, but it didn't work. So I got different technology to record everything now.
So which court are you in, or which
That was
jurisdiction?
that was the Toronto court on University Avenue, 395 or 393. I forget the number.
Okay.
And what happened is that in that case, the judge didn't care about anything. I had somebody on the call because what the hell? I had to write a transcript, and then the municipality filed another case for the same damn thing, and I was hauled into Belleville, and that judge didn't care either. So you can't have two trials for the same thing. That's bullshit.
No,
Stan,
correct.
Stan, it must be appealable because the cops here messed up on a suicide or a murder, and it went all the way to the Canada Supreme Court, and they still kept it sealed. But it must be appealable of some nature that it went all that way, because the family wanted to find out how the cops effed up with the investigation. So I'm just mentioning it as an aside. And they've hidden it at the Supreme Court now. The only way we used to find it is do a newspaper search. But I'm just mentioning it as an aside. That judge's decision must be appealable.
Okay, you're supposed to appeal it within 6 months. I'm past the 6 months.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know about that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Unless there's a way, if somebody has a way to appeal something that happened a while back, hey, let me know.
You'd have to bring a motion.
Right? According to what I read under the
you have to bring a motion.
It's a process, but yeah, you got to bring a motion, but you're still supposed to do that within 6 months, and you have to prove why you want it. Well, how do I prove it with no transcript? I could try file a motion. It may not go anywhere, but
That's why you bring in the motion, because they're not supplying the transcript.
And then the judge will make an order to supply the transcript.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yep.
Yeah, I can try it. But that whole court system, holy crap, are they corrupt? Yep.
They good.
It boils down to, again, knowing the proper way to access that information. That's the whole key, right? If you were a lawyer, if you'd hired a lawyer, paid him big money, he would have got the transcript. But because you're a layman and you're not sure how to do it, then that's why you get frustrated within that structure. That's why they want you to hire a lawyer to do it instead of doing it yourself.
But a lawyer is part of the bar association, so is the judge, so is the prosecutor, so is the other lawyer.
I know, but what you do is you hire the lawyer to get the transcript, and then you fire him.
Yeah, I actually should try that. It can't hurt.
Yeah.
There you go. Also, Claudio has a question as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more of a statement. I put it in the chat, and I also sent it to you, Steve, for a review on Saturday, so we don't have to do it here if we don't want to. But that's the Brady won in court by using a process, and you should see it. It's divine because they sealed his file too and wouldn't give it to him. But he had the judge calling him by his first name. The clerk looked over at him and tried tricking him by saying Mr. Queering, and then he gave him a dirty look, and then a judge looked over at the clerk and said, you need to call him Brady. They rescinded the court case. He's got the whole file. How did he get the file? Get this, he called the attorney general. So he obviously turned them into trustees, because the attorney general then had and gave him the file. So here's a file that he wins with all what he's done, and with a stamp from the judge's private chambers. So it's divine that right. So I've sent the file to Steve. I put the link to our Google Drive that Dallas and I are going to populate just really important documents that are there. And so that's something we should review in detail.
Yeah.
Brady's a brilliant dude, man. Okay. So it's something you need to look at. But basically, if I can just give a general overview of what he did.
Yeah, go ahead.
He went in there and he said, forgive me for not understanding how to be trustee over the Queen's property. Because the Queen has got enactments, and we have the enactments that state they own every certificate. driver's license, birth certificate, passport, all that. They own it all. So we're the
Yep.
tenants, right? So we're the
Right.
tenants, and yet here I am as trustee. I screwed it all up, but you can't charge me because I'm in joinder with the queen, because if she's whatever portion beneficiary, executor, whatever you want to call her, then why am she's not here? So you need to call your boss and have her show up because she's in joinder with me. That turned the courtroom around immediately, because you're admitting that you are the trustee. You're admitting it's the queen's property. You're admitting all those things, but you can't be fined. You can't be tried. You can't have any court go further because she's not there.
Yeah.
It doesn't say her agents own it. It says she owns it. And like Brady
Right.
said, Her Majesty is not a corporation. It's her name. It's her sovereign name. So you have a sovereign and you're a trustee for that sovereign. So how can the court proceed? This is my words. Brady's words are better, but that gives you a
Right.
flavor of what he's done. It's important. That is now one of the most important cases we should be adding to everything we send in.
Cool. I know people have asked, and they said they always ask the court, is the queen going to show up because it's under Regina or the queen versus? And they say no. But then most people don't know what to do after that. Like, okay, well, whatever. But you're right. If it's supposed to be under the queen, then I must have injured her. Let her show up.
But you have to start off by saying, I'm sorry because I've been abusing her property. You're the trustee. Until you say, forgive me, right? It won't go anywhere. Because you're not admitting to be the trustee. You're pretending you're still the owner. So if you walk in and want to own anything, it ain't going to happen. Because nobody really owns anything. Because now it gets a little bit spiritual here because we don't own anything.
Right. Everything's registered, so you just gave away your title anyway.
Right. And registrar means, regis means king, and strare means to stand in front of. So you've given the property to the king, the queen, the government, the corporation.
Yep.
Okay, we also have Darcy that would like to ask a question.
Okay, I'm just going to give you a little bit from the wording of what Claudio just said.
Okay.
So, notice of acceptance and request. I am man, and then he had his upper and lowercase name.
Right.
Do communicate with you, the woman or the man, that was the judge, not the name of the judge, because there is a mistake which requires immediate attention and time is of the essence, for I am being harmed by the current operation of this person and account. Long possession is the law of peace. For your information and understanding, I am joint recipient and co-user of both the person registered upon registration of live birth and the social insurance account established for this person. Long possession produces the right of possession and takes away from the true owner his actions. For your further information and understanding, the reason for this notice is reciprocation and indemnification with Article 38 of the Lieber Code in conjunction with Article 31 of the Lieber Code, in order for Article 2 of the Lieber Code to be fulfilled. What is done contrary to the custom of our ancestors neither pleases nor appears right. I am, with conviction, man does establish governments to protect and defend inalienable rights granted by our Creator of man, and the exercise thereof of man. No man ought to be burdened in consequence of another's act. He's referring to the infant born and then the taking over of that identity being too young to comprehend. The self-evident facts remain. Any application for registration of a person by another than I before I did obtain age, majority, while the application for the social insurance account established for this person was negotiated by a minor. Therefore, operation of law and equity allow for rescission obligation resulting from negotiation due to infancy. I rescind obligation as obligor due to infancy at the time of negotiation. When two rights concur in one person, it is the same as if they were in two separate persons. Equal things, unequal things ought not be joined. Well, I use this person and property with federal court's rules, 101 to 104, and the Queen's Bench rules for Saskatchewan, Part 2, Division 1, Subdivision 12-1, 2-2, 2-3, the operation of law commends that the issuer of the certificate must be joined in any matters concerning this person as fiduciary for the represented person. And if a person has not been joined as required, the court must order the person be made party, both parties. A person who refuses to join as plaintiff may be made either defendant or in proper case an involuntary plaintiff. The execution of law causes no harm. Or is it your intention to cause harm? And then he goes on to discuss the all caps name in the upper and lower case and how the hospital had gotten themselves involved in the event by registering the event from the minor.
Yep.
He says, therefore, Saskatchewan holds that in subsequent further legal obligations, he enjoys the advantage of a right, takes the accompanying disadvantages, and open he who derives a benefit from a thing to feel the disadvantages attending it. Because no man ought to be burdened in consequence of another's act. And anyone may renounce a law introduced for his own benefit. For no one is obliged to accept a benefit against his consent. Because the execution of law does no injury, for unequal things are not to be joined. And all works are done in this name for the glory of the nation, for all mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor with a firm reliance upon divine providence. That's what Claudio is talking about. Thank you.
Can you give us a link to that? So because somebody may want to download that and include it in their documents.
It's at the We the People. We the People.
Right.
Constitution.
And I put a link in the chat and I gave a copy of it to Steve to send to you for your meeting on Saturday. So,
okay. Sounds good.
Excellent.
No,
I'll post the link.
We should be. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So no, I was just saying we should be including that because that's the latest and greatest win for us in Canada.
Everything we're doing right now is things are moving so rapidly, so fast with information coming in. So what we're doing now, rather than try to upload PDFs, so Claudia's put them up to the Google Drives. We have some blog sites. We're going to revamp the website in the next few weeks. Yeah, me and Steve are talking about doing some different ideas. So right now, what we're doing is we're putting everything on We the People Constitutional Conventions on Rumble. In the description file, we're putting all the files below it in the description, and also you can go there and we'll send you the link. You can email us. We'll send you documents, etc., etc. And every week, more and more coming in. We're going farther and better, stronger, and it's so powerful what we're doing now. So as we progress with all these different individuals coming in with all their skills and assets, we're trying to combine everybody's individual skills, which they're all going the same direction. But right now, this last 6 months have been very, very positive. So as we progress, we're using wins, not losses. Win, 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 win. And the proof of claim on land. That's the most powerful one because they cannot prove they own the land. They have no proof.
That's true.
It's true.
They have no proof. So the proof of claim. So the best thing about proof of claim is this. Karen and Hines are tonight too. They have a lot to say tonight. You're Danny, I love them too. So we're trying different things, but the same avenues as we progress down the route. So if they can't prove they own the land, where do they get ownership of the land? They lose. And secondly, we've always asked our questions. Who's the authority? Fiction or men? And we all know men have the authority. Always have the authority. Men and women, sorry. I just lost someone there. But men and women, right? They have the authority. Flesh and blood overrule fiction. Now, a lot of people are worried about moving from their old system to our system. That's fine. Some of the great things they created benefit us too, right? So we'll consent to that system, what we like. I'm not going to pay for fucking wars. Fuck you. Sorry for the language. I'm not paying for wars. I'm not paying for this. I'm not paying for this. I'm not paying for this. We run the Zooms every day from 5 to 10 by volunteers. And sometimes these Zooms, they go from 5 to 10. I put the link in there. You'll join us. We have some fun, bullshit, etc., etc. It's about us combining our strengths with the most powerful people in the world. Who are they? Men and women.
Men and women.
Family. With their family. I have a status card, right? Status card give me nothing. It slays me. And it's horrific what they've done to us. I'm not Indian, I'm not First Nations, I'm just a man. Our creator created us to give the world to each other. We are here to look after the planet. We're stewards of the planet, to pass it down to the next generation better than we left it, or protect it. And they ain't protecting shit. We have to protect it. We move forward. Proof of claim of jurisdiction. The king is a fictional character created by them.
That's right.
By them. There is no kings. There is no queens. We all are kings and queens. No one has any authority over you. So I just saw it popped in there. So I want you to meet Karen and Hines. They're beautiful, beautiful people. They've been working on big projects. There's a lot of people here tonight. And this next week, there would have been a lot more people in tonight, but somehow they blocked the link coming into the room tonight. And we've heard that from quite a lot of people actually. They couldn't get in tonight to watch this show. Thank God we're recording it, but we're going to improve that next week. I think, we're going to keep continuing these meetings and we're going to get stronger and better. And we're going to equip ourselves. You're never going to become liberated unless you become educated. We got to find the individuals out there that want to do this, to pass the knowledge down. We're all getting old. And Stan, you did great work. Love you, brother. I watched it a couple of times and it's been awesome. So back to you, sir.
Thank you. No, I deal with a lot of problems because people come to me with different issues. So I get to see a lot of different issues, from different avenues. And this group is a good thing because if everybody turns around and works together, collectively, we focus on one or two problems, fix them, one or two problems, fix them. If we're all scattered, that's the problem. I'm fixing this, another guy's fixing something else, another guy's fixing something else. Collectively, if we work as a team, we can solve it. Yeah. If we can solve the money funnel sucking our money out, i.e. taxes, property taxes, federal taxes, mortgage, there would be three big things. But the way the world's going and the system, the way it's so corrupt, how do we enforce it when they don't follow the law? Yeah. Therein lies our problem. If you put a commercial lien on them, and I know how to do that, all they do is get the judge to lift it. And then you get dinged for filing a commercial lien. So the problem is we may be 100% right. Like my documents, when I gave them to a lawyer that I knew, and I said, look, I did you a favor. Do you mind reading this? He read my paperwork and he said, there's nothing wrong with your paperwork, Stan, but I can't even guarantee you to win because the system is so corrupt. Got that right. Yeah, you got that right. I mean, 976 pages went into a court and they turn around and disregard the whole thing. Now they tell people that you can't file a criminal charge in court. Well, actually you can. I knew a guy that did that in Ottawa. But when his court case came,
you have to bypass the crown.
well, it doesn't because you're still using their court system.
No,
That's
you
the
have to
problem.
bypass the crown. You have to go to the Attorney General to get your court case in. The RCMP will not prosecute the crown. The crown will not prosecute themselves. The Attorney General, if you do it properly, he has to present the case, and they will fail every single time, and they will proceed on jurisdiction. Make sense?
Well, I'm not sure how you're getting the Attorney General to do it. I'd be interested to talk to you about that because
We're
I
gonna
did file.
We're gonna talk about a lot of things. Like I said,
Yep.
we've equipped a lot of good people. Richard Voice, 5 shows. I was booked with Richard Voice, but I didn't understand Richard Voice, what he wants. YouTube videos, amalgamation, that kind of stuff. I'm not here for money. And but your voice is out there. So let's concentrate what we're gonna do in the Corporation of Canada first. And we stick to what we have to do. We clean up our back door, our back steps here, and we send the message to Europe and around the world. I honestly believe it's going to be the individuals of the corporation in the of Canada that's actually going to make this transpond. We have a bunch of idiots still believing in Trump, voting, morons, etc., etc. No man ever gives his consent away to a corporation. Ever. Voting is like asking to be shot inside the head.
Agreed.
And that's a terrible thing because most people are looking for a hero like Spider-Man or Superman or some nonsense. Without a contract, you've got nothing.
That's right.
That's
Yep. But that's the thing. They say, well, we have the right under the Local Government Finance Act. If it's in UK or here, they say it's a municipal act. They think they have authority, but where do they own the property?
They have no proof of
They
claim
don't.
property. And that's what you have to go with. You know why? If you cannot prove you own the property, how did you get jurisdiction on the property?
Yeah, I know. But the problem is the courts are corrupt. So how do we enforce it?
It doesn't matter with the courts. You know why? Because we go to the Attorney General, the Lieutenant Governor, and as Idona said, Lieutenant Governor and the General Governor, none of them signed off on any of these mandates. None of them signed any of these things. They only signed acts and statutes. They never served a law. They cannot be a law. The Criminal Code of Canada says the Criminal Code of Canada. It does not say the law of Canada. If they say the law of Canada, they have already had caused insurrection on themselves. Correct?
Yep.
Stan, I'm just going to jump in on the prosecutor thing. It's
Yep.
called a private prosecution, and
Yep.
you can file it. But then generally the system, as I understand it, is it goes to the prosecutor who's supposed to help you with it. But 99% of the time, what they do is they say, oh, we've investigated your situation. This may even have affected Blanding's turtle issue up in Peggy's area with Bala Falls. And they said, we have a unlikely chance of winning. And then they get the judge to dismiss your private prosecution that you've walked in with all the documents. That's just another level. I'm not discounting going to the AG because I put it in the chat there. I had to complain about the staff here. And I was amazed when I got an email reply apologizing for what I caught them doing in the courthouse illegally. So it must be a step. So I'm not discounting what Dallas said about going direct to the AG. And usually they have a web page that says, do you want to send comments to the AG? Well,
yeah,
try that. I've already mentioned that before with the others here. Anyway, thanks for your time.
No problem. Thank you. No, what I did, I have a consolidated affidavit that happened between this Toronto case and this Belleville case with the city of Belleville.
Stan, I want to ask you about an affidavit. I've had struggles with affidavits because an affidavit is an affirmation of sin. So can you clarify what you mean by an affidavit to me? Because I've been trying to figure this out. I watched Doofus Farce, Mythos Canada, that parasite, right? With his bullshit, scamming people, right? So what does an affidavit mean on affirmation? And I'm trying to get a clarification on Black's Law Dictionary, where I still cannot figure what an affidavit is. Can you explain what you think what an affidavit means? Because I'm really curious, because I still could find nothing on what that means, or even a couple other words I want to talk to you about. Thank you.
Okay. No, when you write out an affidavit, you're basically testifying under oath, because that thing's sworn under oath that everything you state in that thing is true. So what happens if I write an affidavit to you for some reason? I don't know why, but let's just hypothetically. So I give the points to what transpired between you and I. Okay. Whatever it is, you bumped into my car, you backed into it, Walmart, you caved in the back fender. Here's an exhibit of your car, Exhibit A. Here's a picture of my car after you hit it, Exhibit B. Here's the paint transfer on your vehicle, Exhibit C. There's the eyewitness that wrote another paper or proof, and they said they'll testify in court. That's Exhibit D. And so you're testifying basically under oath, but you're doing it on paper, testifying to each statement of whatever transpired. But it has to be firsthand knowledge. It can't be some hearsay bullshit. And this is why when you go into court and the judge starts blabbering on, and then they give the prosecution time to talk, hold it. Wait a minute, Your Honor. That's the prosecutor's attorney. It's not the person that I'm dealing with. So anything they say is inadmissible. It's hearsay. So what I tell people to do, because most times courts won't let you speak and have all your entire say anyways, is you put your paperwork in writing. Well, the way you do it in writing is you file an affidavit, because the affidavit is all the statements in logical order, and you keep each point on point, 1 point per reference. So point 1 will be your first statement, point 2 will be your second, and you break it down point by point. Don't try to cross-examine or put 3 or 4 things in there. Don't put emotions in there. It's strictly a statement of facts. And then the other side has to dispute those on the same order that they were presented, on a point-by-point basis. If they don't rebut that affidavit, an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce. And when you go into court, everything you do is commerce. They're always trying to squeeze money out of you. That's why we got the prostitution up there called the prosecutor, right? He's trying to extract money. So if you make your statements 1, 2, 3, 4, it's usually how it's done, numbered, in a paragraph format, you explain each point. They have to dispute it. If they don't, they've agreed to it. Now the judge should be able to, if he won't let you speak, you can have your entire case, which is normally 90% of the time. His or her job is to render a verdict based on any evidence presented both written and orally. So if everything speaks on that affidavit, you can now reference that affidavit and say, Your Honor, I always ask the judge, have you had a chance to read the documents I submitted in the court? And if he says no, well, Your Honor, it's going to take us a while to go through because I need you to render a verdict based on all the evidence. Would you like the chance to have, say, a 15 to 20-minute recess so you can review the documents? So what I'm doing is I'm putting the judge in a corner. If he says, no, I don't want to do that, okay, then we're going to be here a long time because your job is to render a verdict on all of the evidence, not some of the evidence, not part of the evidence. And if you have any questions, as I go through point by point, I'll stop and I'll give you the opportunity to ask me whatever question you want relative to that point. Now you've backed the judge into a corner. He can't do anything. He has to give you your chance. If he doesn't, which most of the time they don't, then you can turn around and declare this thing a mistrial, and you can file for a judicial review, which is a review of how the court operates, or you can file an appeal. Now that's a bit more of a process, and we hope to never go through appeals. So your affidavit should have all the points in there, so there's no dispute in anything. And what you do is you make your point, see Exhibit A, and Exhibit A is a document, a picture, a photograph, whatever. But it has to be on information you believe to be correct, that you know with firsthand knowledge. Steve told me last week that he was going to give me an ice cream cone today, and I bring that into court. Well, where's Steve to corroborate your story? He's not here. So is that admissible in court? No, that affidavit is now junk. So I have to turn around and put the paperwork in there that I can prove. And if I can't prove it and I need somebody, okay, well, I'm going to bring Steve into court as my witness. Okay, and he can verify what I said, because if I put something in the affidavit that I can't prove, and said it's the third party evidence, that's inadmissible. It's junk. Don't be doing that. That's what an affidavit is. So it's basically a statement of facts that you can verify that back up what you claim. Plain and simple.
I have a better explanation.
Okay.
Do you ever put a factum in? A factum normally an affidavit is used for somebody that can't appear in court. So they will swear an affidavit on the record into what they know about the case. A factum is a detailed record of your actions and your defense.
Yep.
So most people, when they go to court, you file a factum. If a person can't be in court at that time, then you have them swear an affidavit as to the knowledge they know in regards to your case. Okay.
Yeah. When you file an appeal, for example, if you file an appeal, or if they put an application motion in the court, and sometimes they file a motion, so you only got like 10 days to answer it, then you are required to file a factum. It's a different process than filing a basic statement of claim, statement of defense. That's correct.
But it's better to file your factum into court first, and then you can use that same factum on your appeal because it was presented in front of that judge and he erred on the information that was in the factum on his decision. That's how you can get your court of appeal in quicker.
Yep.
Okay, we have Pissed Off Grandma, also known as Darcy.
Hi, thank you. It's just a short one. That's exactly what Brady was saying in his case when he went in there and said, "I'm two people. I'm here as a signatory upon something that was created by Her Majesty. We have joined her. So how can we proceed without all parties?" Right? And that's and because it was Her Royalness that had created this fiction, that's why that's so powerful, is because we all have that joinder, all of us. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
100%.
Here's a funny question. If your case is on behalf of Regina the Queen, or the Queen, whichever way they word it, and as you say, we have joinder, why didn't they appear in court? Right? If they issued the document, supposedly, we all know it's bullshit, but if they issued the document, why didn't they show up for their own court case?
But we have to say that. We have to, right? And that's the thing. It's articulating it and saying it and being able to be the adult and not the infant that was joined, but the adult that comprehends.
Yep, good point.
And further to that, Stan, with affidavits, the other side has the luck that they don't have to produce a printed reply to the affidavits. They can just go there and they've had all the time to research whatever excuses they want to come up with and just verbally throw them at the judge. And then last time I was in, I said to the judge, well, I don't get to cross-examine that. He says, no, we've had enough today. I'm just showing you how ridiculous it is to go through all that work to do all those affidavits, and then yet they can just use a verbal reply. It's not like we can use a verbal reply.
You're not a member of the club.
Basically, yeah.
That's true, but I'm just saying that that's a big onerous thing. That's why I only submitted 4 pages instead of 40.
So you need to read and digest the case file that Brady did.
Oh yeah,
it's really important.
Yeah, no argument. Thank you. I learned from that too. That's fine. Just mentioning it to people that.
No, I got you. No, I got you. It's when we're walking in there, we're still incompetent. And we're still thinking we're owning everything. Like we all know, nobody owns the land. So now when we walk in there and we want to claim ownership to something, then they're going to treat us like we're retarded because nobody owns land. You're going to leave here with nothing. You're going to come back, but you're going to leave here with nothing.
Well, that's why I filed a judicial review on the judge federally.
Yeah, but so Robert, let's go back in 3 cases. So, let's look at Dean Clifford. Dean Clifford was doing commerce, fighting with commerce, right?
Yep.
As soon as he switched to common law, he was outside my house in Cranbrook, Elko. They pulled him over in Elko.
Yeah,
Arrested.
okay.
Let me finish.
Well, I am letting you finish.
And I said to him, stick to the facts, stick to commerce. And Cal said the same thing. Cal was the same thing. Stick to commerce. But Cal was also pushing at the same time, right? And I said, no, I don't think that's going to work for us. So, Cal got hammered. Dean Clifford got five years in jail. We had a fight to get him out of there. We fought for 36 months to get him out of prison. Got locked up in the 7th floor with the most murderous bastards in the world.
I know he got kidnapped from here by cops that were out of their jurisdiction that we're paying for with the tax money here. So I understand that. Just so other people understand, that's what happened. He went all the way from Ontario, dragged to Alberta. Yeah.
No, to Manitoba. So we learned a big lesson that day. We went through jurisdiction trying to go into their battlefield. And when Dean got out of jail, we spent a lot of time talking about the mistakes that we made. And we all made the mistakes. We made the mistakes because we were trying to challenge. And I said, no, it's not going to work. And Dean said to me, the next morning, he says, when he got out of jail after 36 months, he says, you're right. I said, no, I was not right. I suspected it was the wrong direction. What you did, you sacrificed 36 months of your life. Rob Menard did the same thing. And he got hammered down and beat the sheriff. Also Canadian Forces. He served an honorable career with the Canadian Forces. And he got the shit kicked out of him too. So we learned a lot of valuable lessons. And we're trying to pass those lessons down. So jurisdiction, proof of claim, don't enter the alligator pit. Because as soon as you enter the alligator pit, you've given up 100%. They have no jurisdiction over you.
Okay, the process I was talking about, couldn't avoid it with the estate situation. So sometimes I find
but you will, but now because we're doing things on every estate. First and foremost, I mean, I want Karen and Hines to speak tonight. You know why? They have done some beautiful things. And I want everybody to see what they've been working on because they've done amazing things. Like we're here to communicate, right? And we got to show wins to the people. And secondly, each one of us has a gift, So when you got time, I would like, Steve to, let McDonald meet Karen and Hines because these people are just amazing. And
so I think it's almost time to flip over to your channel.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Actually, we're gonna sit here all night. We're gonna sit here on bullshit all night because guess what? My channel runs 7 days a week, and guess what? This is the most important thing tonight. We're all communicating. We have a bunch of people in here that are beautiful, and I think Steve can afford about 3 more hours on goddamn Zoom.
I just wanted to say thanks to Bill, for hosting us.
No, you're always welcome. I just wanted to give Stan a little bit of a further tip. When the crown stands up, like you say, and he makes his remarks verbally, you have an opportunity to counter that on closing argument. So I always write notes, okay, so that when I go back in on closing argument, I cover off all those points of, should we say, misinformation that she laid in front of the judge at that time. Dallas doesn't like the alligator pit. I love that alligator pit. Okay.
You are crazy.
I just love it. You got that the fun I had today was just pure fun. So for me, I just love going into that alligator pit because I usually eat the alligator, right? But Stan, I got to give you an awful lot of credit. I've watched your videos and your comments, and you've helped, I say, all of us move a little bit further. But again, together we can learn how to, and I know Dallas hates that alligator pit, but we all have to learn how to go into that alligator pit and come back out a winner. That's the whole kick to this, right? Because once you show them that you can beat them at their own game in that alligator pit, they don't want to take you there very often. It's like what I said earlier. We're going to get a Supreme Court ruling in case law out of a PA court. Because when I argue the constitutional rights on Steve's case, it affects me, it'll affect you, Stan, as well. They don't understand and don't realize what they've given us, because she's going to allow me to argue constitutional rights in a PA court. I've
That's
never.
surprising. I've had them tell me the Constitution doesn't apply in my courtroom.
But you see there again, this worship, I had her very well eating out of my hands today. It wasn't a day.
That was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Okay,
But when you go back into court, it may not be the same because the other
oh,
side will talk to her.
Trust me. I'm very good in court. Okay, I've been trained to do court. I love court, right? And it's how you approach the court is how you get the best results. And it's like today, I got to argue, and I'm going to be able to prepare a constitutional argument on the Bill of Rights, the Charter of Rights, the Ontario Human Rights. I'm going to be able to argue and prepare a case on their no authority under the Municipal Act. I'm going to be able to argue on First Nation rights, supersede all of it, on our, should we say, non-surrendered lands. I'm going to argue everything that I can to get everything that I can in this decision, okay, that will stand then as case law out of a PA court. Because, again, they're not prepared, okay? She got a taste of it today of what my ability is, and she says, I'm not handling this case. She's passing it off to someone else. She did that instantly, right?
Yeah, she did.
Because I knew more about the law and about our rights than what the Crown did. So I'm just saying to you, I love going into that alligator pit, right? And I think if other people through this whole process learn the same stuff and how to approach it, and that's what I'm saying. We need to all learn how to go into that alligator pit and come out the slayer, right? Because you cannot, and I said that very clearly to her, and she agreed, you cannot convict somebody on hearsay. It's insubmissible in any court, regardless of what level you're at. So you have to learn how to stand up and demand your rights to be respected. That's the whole kicker here, right? Is not let the Crown take over your case and tell the worshiper, the judge, what kind of decision they want. Your argument is to prove the Crown has no authority. The court, actually the municipality has no authority. The province has no authority over your case. And when you argue basically strong, they have no comeback to you. Because, you know, and that's the thing. And I always was taught too, when you go into court, you have the biggest pile of documents, because they look at that as you've done the most amount of research and you've got the most amount of evidence to lay on. But again, I always prepare a very strong factum, and I only use affidavits from people that can't appear in court that day, right? So, and like I said, I've done Court of Appeal. I've done the Supreme Court of Canada twice and won on both of them. So for me, it's fun. And that's what I'm saying, right? Everybody can be trained, because all you do is you watch a really good lawyer. I always tell people watch CPAC, because they deal with mostly constitutional issues. And those are the top lawyers. They're constitutional lawyers. They know every trick in the game. They got Trudeau, for God's sakes, caught him lying. And it only didn't take that long to get him, right? Because they take you back and forth amongst the documents until you forget which document you answered what on. Right? And then they compare that and say, you lied. I'm sorry. You misled the court. Thank you. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents. I love what you're doing, Stan, what Dallas is doing, what we're all doing, because we're moving forward. and we're moving forward again back to our freedom. It's like I said, we got to get rid of China and we got to get Canada back, right? Thanks, guys.
Okay. Another comment that you mentioned, you know, somebody said, well, we don't own anything. That's correct. Everything's been registered. We gave it away. But then who has equity into that property or that piece of equipment or whatever? Equity is supposed to trump all. So does the Crown have any equity? Does this municipality have equity into your property? Absolutely not. Same with your vehicle, right? You got equity into it. You're the one maintaining it. You're the one, you know, fixing it, repairing it, taking care of it. They have nothing.
Let's put it to you this way. Possession is 9/10 of the law.
Yeah, and they possess the registration.
That's it.
That's why they can seize it, because you registered it unwillingly, but you did it anyway. If you buy a vehicle, a lot of times they'll say, do you want to register that vehicle? Do you want us to do it for you? Yeah, most people, yeah, I'll go ahead. Well, then they transferred the ownership to the government, right? You want to get that certificate back if you can, and you have to go back to the manufacturer. Now in England, I played a game, because in England they have a thing called a V5. That's your ownership paperwork. But it says on that V5 that you're the registered keeper. So when this guy got a parking ticket, he brings me this parking ticket. He said, what the hell do I do with this crap? So I said, well, wait a minute. You're not the registered owner. You're the registered keeper. Give me that paper. And I showed him. He goes, yeah, okay. I said, so who's the registered keeper and who's the registered owner? Well, DVLA. So I sent a letter back to them. I didn't give them enough information, but I said, look, I've got a copy of this here ticket, and the registered owner is DVLA. Here's their address. I provided it for your convenience. And they wrote back to me and they said, oh, we're sorry. We thought we were dealing with a registered owner. So then what they turned around and did is they went and they had a picture of the license plate, right? Because they took a picture of the license plate. They gave that paperwork to DVLA illegally and said, who owns this vehicle? Of course, DVLA won't admit they're the owner. So then they gave the address back to the people writing this PCN, which is a parking infraction. And I said, oh, good. Now DVLA and this parking authority, they've committed, you know, public illegal, because they violated the Privacy Act, and they're not supposed to give out information unless you've committed a crime. I don't think parking a vehicle on property is a crime. So when I told them that and they brought that to court, they threw it out. But the problem is that when we register our vehicle, it's given up ownership. It gave up the title certificate. And then it was stupidly, we put a license plate on that vehicle, which identifies it as a government property. So then if you don't have a driver's license, well, what are you doing driving government registered property? So you get charged with not having a driver's license or not having insurance. But if you take the plates off the vehicle, then they pull you over for not having your vehicle registered. Now, in the UK, we solved the problem.
Stan, I'll add one thing. So if your vehicle's bought and paid for from, where do you buy your vehicle from?
Yeah.
Where do you buy it from? A dealership.
Yeah.
A
Dealership.
dealership.
Yeah.
As soon as you buy from a dealership, it's already been incorporated. So you cannot deregister that vehicle, even though you think we tried this 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Pat Kawartha, we tried to deregister the vehicle. The only time you can own an automobile if you buy it from the manufacturer, which has been stopped.
Yeah.
So when you buy an automobile, a house, a car, a truck, a motorcycle, they already are owned by the corporation. So Karen's going to talk. I want Karen to explain some stuff to you. You're going to love Dan with Heinz and they've been working on is taking ownership of your vehicles, your property, automobiles, motorcycles, all these things, because we always work together building a platform. Like I said, we have thousands of brilliant people there. We stick focused. The land was created by the creator. The creator created us as ownership and stewards to the land. Okay. No other man has any authority over you. And most important is the system was built for us to be perfect. Somebody hijacked it, the trust, equity, etc., etc. We can work with that system and we consent to what we want. And I watched your video. I loved it. You know, I watched it for quite a while, and you know, one of the greatest things you said was, you know, it's like Claudia said to me, United Nations created a thing called the covenant. We have a covenant not to pay for our own enslavement, to be murdered, to fight wars in foreign lands. So insurrection is our greatest gift. Hope that makes sense. But
Yep.
So I'd like if Karen Hines can step in and talk.
Yeah.
They would love to talk to you.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to jump in here for 1 second. We've gone over time, but that's you know what, that's what happens. I understand that. It's great. Let's give it about 10 minutes, and we'll if Karen and Heinz share some information, and remember, what we're gonna do is send me an email at sue@kltpa.ca. I put the link in here, so we can set up for next weekend. We're gonna do a Saturday and a Sunday. Stan, let me know what kind of time frame what you like to do. I'll make sure that everyone gets that information, and we'll do an infomercial or information session here.
Yep.
It's gonna be a great marathon. We'll have multiple recordings of this, so we'll keep this going. But Stan, you know what? It was really awesome have the information here. I understand everyone jumped on here, but you know what? We're all passionate for the truth here, and as we can all see, so this is excellent. So so let's try and keep this brief at the very end here, and then remember, send me an email at sue@kltpa.ca. Okay, and then so I like to know what kind of numbers I'm dealing with for next weekend. Okay.
So
go ahead.
okay, everybody here. So I put the link in the Stan. We have we run a group every day, 7 days a week, and I put the link in there. There's a lot of people waiting for you to get in, and this week, so I figured tonight we'd have 1,000 people in the room tonight, but their room got sabotaged. Nobody can get in, only a few. So about 6. Yep. So I put the link in there, and there's a bunch of people waiting for you after this room. I want you to copy that, pop in, and I'm telling you, they're waiting for you after this show here. And like I said, I'm going to work with Steve this week to get this corrected, because there was a lot. I mean, this should have been 1,000 people in this room tonight, Steve. Honestly, 1,000. And I'm going to tell you, we have over 100 people waiting to get in, and they cannot get into your room.
Isn't that interesting, eh?
They blocked your room. So I'm going to work with you tomorrow in the next 2 days. Let's get this fixed. You know why?
Yeah, because we want to blow the lid off it on Saturday and Sunday.
So Stan, did you copy that link?
Yeah, I got the link. Copied it in my email.
After we finished up here, just pop in. If you only have 5 or 10 minutes, whatever, that's fine. But I want you to pop in there, because you're going to meet a lot of people that couldn't get into Steve's room, which really pisses me off today. We should have 1,000 people in this room tonight.
Well, remember it this way: it's better to be peed off than peed on, right?
That's right. Hey, the old story. You can't
make it. We're gonna get Stan live.
So
yeah. So what do you guys? I'm going to ask you before we jump to the next people. What do you guys want covered next weekend? Because I'm going to make a slide presentation. Of course, I need time to do that. So if you can submit that to Steve, I'll see what I can do about it. You know, just don't drop it to me on Friday afternoon. Say, hey, can you do this by tomorrow morning?
Are Karen Hines still in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so Karen Hines, can you introduce yourself to Stan? I'd love it.
Stan. Hello, Stan.
Hi.
Heinz and I, my husband and I, have been working on our proof of claim for our property. And we firstly, we sent in a request for access to records to ask the oaths of our mayor and council. That was over 35 days ago. We still haven't received response. And then we put in a first, I'll call it a first notice of proof and taxation to claim bylaws et al. We put that in and we waited and we asked to get it in a week, because in our website, it says that oaths and personal property issues, information, records is over the counter. You don't have to put in a freedom of information. Well, we put in for our personal property in Newcastle land, north of Victoria. And we didn't, after 7 days, we didn't receive any response. So we waited another week and we still didn't make a response. So we sent in a second notice on April the 2nd, reminding them of the pending response of the oaths and also our first notice for proof of claim. And we gave them a week and they didn't respond. So we gave them another week, you know, because our small village of 6,000 people might be very busy, right? So that was facetious, sorry. And
That's all right.
and tomorrow we're putting in a final notice of proof of claim. And it's a little more detailed. And we have our reference number. And this time I'm just putting it to the mayor and councillors and then copies to the CEO, AO, and clerk. Because when we personally delivered our second notice, I said, now the mayor and council, this will be put in their boxes. And she said, well, you've also mentioned the clerk. So this goes to the clerk first, and the clerk will decide if she wants to pass it on to the mayor and council. And I thought, oh dear, that was
Okay.
not what I intended. But
Right.
we didn't want to be too aggressive here. So in this notice that we're putting in tomorrow is we're making it to attention to mayor and council and copying it to the clerk. And it's from the people of the property of such and such. Notice to agent is notice to principal, notice to principals, notice to agent. And then I said correspondence, waiting for responses of number 1, access to the records dated March the 15th, requiring councillors and mayor signed oaths of office, etc. And this is not a formal request, it's shown in your green checklist in the routine releases in your Town of Qualicum website. 7 days to provide the requirement info seems a reasonable time frame to access these routine releases. 32 days have passed without a response, in part or in full. So then, and then second notice, a notice we sent, proof of claim dated March 19th. Proof of claim is required to provide evidence of any claim made upon the aforementioned property, taxation, land use, water use, structures, building, etc., etc. And this requirement was made on the 19th of March. And proof of consent to contract was to be provided via telephone or email. 7 days was given to provide it, and 28 days have passed without response. In this first notice and your information, we reference the Canada government, the government of British Columbia, as well as other provinces of Canada being traded on the US Stock Exchange. I attached the cover pages of the annual reports of these, of the CIK of Corporate Canada, US Inc. as a US corporation acting as a Canadian government, and the second cover letter, Corporation of Province of British Columbia, CIK 2 numbers, US and New York Incorporated, a US corporation acting as the province of Canada. I mentioned those two. And then the second notice was issued on April the 2nd. And I mentioned the Clearfair Doctrine and also attached the 8 points of contract law. And there was no response to either the requests, the first notice or the second notice. So now tomorrow is the third notice. The third and final notice is formally served. Required proof of taxation, etc., was not provided. The property noted above has no evidence of contracts or consent to contracts set upon it. Therefore, no jurisdiction nor obligation. Any acts of enforcement, threat, coercion, malice, extortion, et al. shall be deemed a trespass. Proof of claim falls upon the claimant. There's no and then I mentioned, there's no evidence that the mayor and council swore oaths to serve we, the people of Qualicum Beach, whom we, the people, elected into office. It appears that they swore their oaths to the corporation of the town of Qualicum Beach to uphold the Municipality Act of the Union of British Columbia Municipalities Incorporated, which answers to the Nanaimo Regional District Corporation and to the Corporation of the Province of British Columbia. The Corporation of the Provincial Government's representatives swore oaths to the Corporation of the Crown, the Queen, and now King Charles III. And I've got their oaths to King Charles III, who in turn serve the Corporation of the United Nations and other corporations. I didn't want to go on and on. Corporations cannot contract with a private man nor woman unless the corporation can prove them to be corporations, and only by written consent can there be a valid contract. Corporations can only contract with other corporations and employees of corporations. You, mayor and councillors, cannot serve two masters, we the people and also the corporations. So in conclusion, I wrote, we the people of the land known as Qualicum Beach are considered customers according to the town council website, which we are.
Yep.
We seem to be largely considered payers of taxes and services. Taxation and other infringements have been done through tacit agreement, perpetuated with disclosure of the facts, and that the corporations involved were operating under the oath of color of law, de facto. This is fraud, extortion, and coercion. Let it be known, there is no agreement nor consent set upon this property without a contract. Contracts make the law, and consent makes the contract. The burden of proof lies on the claimants noted herein. We offer you an extension of 3 days, totaling 35 days to fulfill your requirements. No response by April 19th, which is on Friday, will be considered a tacit agreement that there is no proof of claim to taxation, bylaws, etc., consented to contract or contract signed by we the people and owners of the aforementioned property. No response to the oaths of office as required is considered a tacit agreement that there are no sworn oaths by mayor and councillors to serve the people of Qualicum Beach. The clerk, CEO, CAO, and or CFA are all employees of the corporation, and the mayor and councillors answer to the corporation, not the people of Qualicum Beach. Respond by phone, my phone number, followed by an email, which I will reply to confirm receiving it. Attachments to this third and final notice are all prior requests and prior notices in case these documents, including 11 pages, did not reach the mayor and council. To make it clear, we as people living in and owning property in the town of Qualicum Beach will pay our share in maintaining certain necessary services. Consider this an unalienable right and exercise dominion, all rights reserved, and we sign it. This is our third and final notice to our village. And
I
thereafter,
would tell them I want my answers in writing, because if they phone you, you can't confirm what they say unless you're ready to record the call.
okay, well, okay, in writing.
All correspondence is to be done in writing. Then you got them signing a document bearing a signature of the authoring party. That way you got somebody to hold accountable, because they might send you a document, no signature. Well, who the hell wrote that? Nobody knows. You want it signed.
Okay, I thought an email was what stand as significant enough, but it's not.
Well, I would do it the other way, because even an email can be doctored. When you got a signed document, it's pretty hard to, I mean, I can take your signature and transpose it, but now I'm committing fraud.
Exactly. Thank you.
The email, Karen, was just to confirm that they had things ready for you to pick up.
Ah, okay.
The other thing you could do too, instead of mailing the letter off to them, which I do to the courts now because they hate it, is I turn on and I fax it to them, because a fax machine, if you set it up right, will spit out a confirmation sheet. So now I know they got it. It's half the price of sending it out by courier. Because you want somebody to sign for it or prove they got it. If they just send out a regular piece of mail, here's an envelope, somebody mailed it to me. Well, when did I get this? Today, yesterday, last week, or did I get it at all? So if I send it out courier, I can prove they got it, or I could send it out fax.
Oh, we're delivering it because we're only 3 minutes away. This is a small community.
Yeah, when I tried to deliver it to my local council, I went up to the third floor or fourth floor, and they said, we're not accepting any paperwork from you. I said, that's fine. So I turn on the fax to them. When I did this to the court too, one time, the court said, we're not stamping your document. They stamped one copy, but they wouldn't stamp the other one. And they said, we're not accepting that. And I said, well, you just had a stamp here a minute ago. Why can't you use it again? So what I did was I just photocopied it, and I had to go to Alberta to deal with actually a CRA tax case. So I waited till I got to Alberta, and I faxed it over to the outfit. I faxed it over to the court because they wouldn't accept it at 4 o'clock. You know, I was there before 4 o'clock. So by the time I got to Alberta, it was 5 o'clock. I faxed it over at nighttime, and then I sent it to the Attorney General. When I came back to Ontario, they wrote back, says, when I walked in, they said, we don't like what you did. I said, well, I don't like the fact that I had to do it. And they said, well, we didn't get it. And I said, well, that's convenient, because I said, I got a phone bill that proves you did, and I got the fax transmission proves you did. Game over. They don't bother me with nothing now. Because once they commit fraud, the court loses subject matter jurisdiction. But I always ask for everything in writing. Then you know, email, did you get it? Did they open it? It had an attachment. We don't open attachments. Forget that crap. Just send it over there, and there they got it. Courier it or fax it.
Well,
property taxes?
no,
In her case, I think it is, yeah.
Yes, it's for our property taxes. And
if it's pertaining to property taxes, what you could do if they fail to acknowledge your presentation or your letter is tell them failure to acknowledge or respond to this would initiate tax monies for said property to be placed in trust.
Yep.
Okay. With them being the beneficiary. And they would have 1 year to come up with the answers to your questions. Failing that, because you're the grantor and you are also the trustee, you will, as trustee, return funds to the grantor. Only to start the whole process over again when they issue another tax bill.
Right. And the other thing, you can ask them to, which I did to the last lawyer because I don't like her. I said, I need you to confirm that you comprehend the documents enclosed. And they have to write back. If they say, well, we don't comprehend it. Well, if you don't comprehend it, then as a lawyer, you can't go into court. Because if you don't comprehend what I wrote in plain English, then, well, I'm sorry. Then how can you testify to anything? And I told her, I said, you better refer to your client's documentation. And they admitted that I didn't file this paperwork. That's what they claim. And I've got stacks of the crap that I sent them by courier. So I wrote back to her and I said, you either didn't follow instructions and didn't get all the documents from your client, or more than likely, your client didn't provide full disclosure, and therefore you are, unlawfully proceeding with the claim without full disclosure. And so I once again instruct you to instruct your client to give me a meeting, and we can resolve this once and for all. And so if they want to proceed now, I've got them on so many violations under loan contracts, it's ridiculous. So now they're willing to give me a meeting, but prior to this they weren't. But I asked them for confirmation that they comprehend, because if they don't, I can tell the judge, Your Honor, I don't even know if they understood what I gave them.
Okay, right? Yes, thank you. In our case, we are the beneficiary of our land because we are now sovereign. We've got all the documents in order, placed in order. and sent it off to the different governments in Ottawa. So we are sovereign now, and we own our corporate name, and therefore we are the beneficiary. And
Okay, but if you look at your mortgage contract,
yes,
okay, because it goes back to that, at least in Ontario, you can send me yours if you want, I'll read it, don't matter. But anyway, it says on there, you're a joint tenant. Well, the question now becomes a joint tenant with who? And actually, you're a joint tenant with the Crown.
yes, we don't
So-
have a mortgage, but our state of deed shows us as joint tenants, and the Crown is the owner. Yes, I understand that part.
You want that changed so that you are the sole owner.
Yep, you need to get that updated, otherwise you don't own your property.
That's it.
Yeah, we're working toward that. That is why we.
Do that before you challenge this tax thing, because you're wasting your time. Because they're gonna say, we work on behalf of the Crown, and you don't own your property, and here's your paperwork, which you submitted and you admitted it.
Yeah.
You need to fix that first.
And that,
Then take them out, because then when they say, well, the Crown owns it, bullshit. Here's my paperwork, it proves that I own it.
yeah,
So,
owner, no tenant.
so
You can't be a tenant.
how do
Hey,
you
look,
change?
Here, I'm gonna fix this. Hey, Steve, I'm gonna rent that building from you. Okay? Does Steve have right access to that property now that I rented it from him under a contract? No, he's the owner, but I have control because I'm the tenant, unless I burn the place down. But even then, I'm supposed to have homeowners insurance or tenant insurance. So therefore, because you're a tenant, they still own it. You have to get rid of that. You have to update that record.
How do you update it?
How long have you?
Notify the land registry office to tell them, look, I hold title deed, and there can't be any liens on the property. There can't be any loans, anything against it.
How long have you owned the land?
Pardon me?
How long have you owned the land?
Without a mortgage.
Without a mortgage, 8 years.
Good enough, and you've got squatters' rights for 7 years.
Yeah, you can do it under squatters' rights, but I think if you, and again, it goes back to if it's registered in all capital letters,
Yes.
you're the signing
Yep.
authority. You
Yep.
can put that back and say there has been a title change. The all capital letters gave me the land, and I am the living flesh and blood, and here's my birth certificate with a red mark on it, whatever you want, stating that now I wish to have that entered into the registry, or you don't have to register your land. You can say that
there might be a problem if you don't register your land, because they have the right to claim unclaimed land.
no, actually, they've got the right to remove all the documents that show any ownership prior to you, and you don't have to claim it's like me. If I went to you, say you had an acre sitting there on the beach there, okay, and you owned it free and clear, and it's yours, and I came to you and I said, well, I'd like to buy that land. And you and I sat down, hashed out a price, and you wrote on a piece of paper that this lot, location, blah, 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 I've sold now, and I put, $50,000 cash on the table, and you took that. Now that is mine because I've got a written bill of sale from you. Remember Commerce, right?
Yep, you got an equitable claim now.
That's it. So why do I have to go and register it?
True. They might
Right?
squawk at you though and say it's not registered property, but yeah. Here's my
No.
receipt, so piss off. I've got an equitable claim.
But I own it, right? Like going into court of law, do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, not but truth, so help you God? No. Where do we go from here?
You can't tell the whole truth, and that's actually a trap in court. When they tell you to tell the whole truth, remember that the judge is off through the court, so is the peanut idiot over there, prosecutor. So when you contradict what they say, you're screwed. So all you can tell them is, I can only tell the truth as I know it.
We have a question in the chat here. By Sylvia says, we asked the land register to change that, and they told us that only a lawyer can do that.
Yeah, they can only get access to the land register.
Okay, so
that's with Terranet or on land.
Yeah.
Internet
Yeah, they changed that a few years ago that we as normal people can't do it.
Yeah, it's all digitalized now.
Yep.
But you can
Now,
go
hey,
to the-
while I got you here, do you know how to change it so we can do it ourselves?
yeah, you can register online. On
Oh,
you can go onto the Terranet website
the
and
what?
Terranet.
Karen, put the link
TRNET.
in the description here,
Yeah.
and I will put it at the bottom of this video.
You can like I just went in as a private person and I created a username and a password and created an account. So that allows me to look at all the old records.
Yeah,
Right?
I can do that too, but I didn't know you could update the darn thing.
What do you mean update it?
Well, you want to change the registration from that all caps name to you now.
Yes, the bottom line is if you're registered with it, okay, you have
Yeah.
just as much rights to do it as a lawyer does. If you are
Right.
the owner of that land. You got to
Right.
remember, this is why now they've got you when you buy a piece of property, you got to have your lawyer's not going to do the deal unless you get title insurance that he charges you $400 or $500 for.
Mhm.
Right? Because too many pieces of property are getting stolen because people have access to this stuff.
Okay, I was unaware that you could update it yourself. But there's another lie, because you just brought up another point. When you get title insurance, that's bullshit. Because who has title to the property? You think you do, but in actual fact, the Crown does, and they didn't disclose that. So there's a lien against your property from the Crown.
That's Rick.
Yeah. No,
Yes,
they haven't got.
You know, we could be here forever.
Hey, well, that's what we're supposed to be here for, man.
I know, it's so great.
So Stan, are you saying that I'm doing this process with the village to put them on notice that they are not working for we the people, therefore we are not contracted and we do not pay taxes? That is one part of it. So to run parallel, we can go to the land registry and change it from our upper caps to our flesh and blood name. So are you saying that going to the village with all of these notices will not serve a purpose?
No, it will.
It will, because you're setting up, what you're doing is building the backstory. And if they can't prove that they have a claim to your property, then when they try and stop you and say, no, hang on, you can say, no, sorry. You already had your chance to prove your claim. So now I have a reason I can move forward because nobody objected. Silence is acquiescence.
Yeah. Is there such a thing out in BC as a Crown patent?
Yes.
Do you
Get
have
a hold of it. Get a copy of it because you need that.
Well, actually, we did it, and it's apparently in the mail now, and we've gone back to the Crown. They call it a deed, the Crown deed, and they granted it to the Esquimalt and Nanaimo Railroad Company. And
Okay.
in the turn of the century, the railroad company took whatever land they needed, and they sold 1,800 square acres, 1,800 acres, which is our property is included in. They sold it to the first British buyer, which was Fullerton. And so the registry has sent us, we've paid for it, has sent us the first granted deed from the Crown to the railroad company, and also the first sale that shows our land in that parcel.
Okay, what you want to do is tie your name to that as the owner. It's called a chain of title.
Yep.
Okay, so you go to Terranet and it's on microfiche, and you're going to have to put in your tax roll number to find out what area or what what instrument number or what lot number or whatever. Whatever, when you look at your tax bill on the right hand, yeah, the right hand side.
Mhm.
That
The
there-
roll name, the roll number.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So when you go into Terranet, then you can search those documents. Now
Mhm.
I say Terranet. It may be on land out there. They're starting to use a few different names now.
Maggie, this,
They're tied together.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
basically the same company. But what you're going to do is you're going to, and you can do screen prints of the chain of title. Now, in your case, if it's 1,800 acres and that's what the Crown Patent is, then you only have, what'd you say, 8 acres or no, how many?
A city lot. So if we can take the original map of the 1,800 acres and we can do part and parcel and describe exactly where our land sits. And we can do it that way. And that's a part and parcel of the title.
Yes, understand this, but on that 1,800 acres, there may be 35,000 houses or different lots to that one Crown Patent.
Yes.
Okay, so on that 1,800 acres, now say you apply for that Crown Patent, you're the first one to get it.
So Rick, I want to butt in for a quick sec here. So what happened was this: when they're going across.
Whoa! Can
Let me pause.
Can I finish
Yeah,
without being in for a sec?
Cut it in for a second after me. So when they did the corporation, what they did was they did when they had Upper Lower Canada, when they're going across the prairies, they created them in 1/4 sections, 1 mile by 1 mile, quarter sections, right? To a section. When they got to British Columbia, they couldn't subdivide the land in British Columbia because of the Rocky Mountains, the terrain. So most of the compassers only did it in 5 acre and 20 acre lots. And some areas they were trying to compass them, so they did in 13 acres, 10 acres because of the land terroration. When they returned back to the king executed them all because he wanted it all done in quarter. I'm done. I'm done. So he executed all the compassers to redo British Columbia because the king didn't understand the terrain in British Columbia, where the mountains are high, the rivers, there was no way they could even compass them. So what they did was they did 5 lots. So the 5 lots were they would do their compassing from the stars, 5 pivot points. So like a 5 a dime, like a 5 of the 5 of a dice. So they would do the original things. So they can only do 13, 16, 18, 14, 5 acre lots, 10 acre lots, 7 acre lots. So they subdivide the best they could with what they had for their technology at the time. So the king executed them all. And they went back, and the individuals said the same thing. So BC is totally different than the rest of the Corporation of Canada. Totally different. And that's why the land mass in the Corporation of British Columbia is different on all land stewardships of landmarks. I want to add that in. It's very important you comprehend this, because you're dealing with elevations of 7,000, 8,000 feet, 9,000 feet. Even on Vancouver Island, your biggest pass, I was in Kenora, it's 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet is like us walking across the prairies from British Columbia. I thought I'd add that in there. Okay?
Dal,
it's very important to understand that.
Yeah, Dallas. Hello? Dallas?
I'm here.
Hey, the whole the West Coast, is that not unceded land?
No, listen to me. Unceded land means United Nations ceded the land.
Yeah, but I thought on the map that I saw on the internet that okay, we've got unceded land here in Ontario, but the BC coast looks like the whole west coast is unceded. Am I wrong?
Yes. Chilcotin Nation, the same thing. Chilcotin Nation goes from Williams Lake all the way to Bella Coola, which is unsurrendered land, not unceded.
Unsurrendered. Yeah, unsurrendered. So the whole west coast is unsurrendered.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I was reading the map right then. So
Yeah.
in this case, if this lady gets or she's got her crown patent, right, and she gets her chain of title, regardless of whether she lives in an apartment building or a condo, shall we say, and it's got a roll number, a taxation number, then if she was the only one that had the crown patent for that, say, 1,800 acres or whatever. Now she's saying it's just a city-sized lot. Doesn't matter what the lot size is, but if she's got that, nobody else has it for that 1,800 acres, it should.
Rick, do me a favor. Sit back about 3 feet. We can hear you fine, buddy. We can hear you fine. Sit back. I want to see. I want to see your. There you go. Talk there.
Tell you what. Take your hat off and move a little to the left. I can't see you. Oh, there you are.
Oh yeah, he's looking at me all the time. Okay, so it's 8:50.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. No, you said half an hour, and now it's 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah, there you are now.
There you go.
Okay.
Like I said. So hey. I know my brother Rick there. He's a great man. Hey, we're gonna run this. We're gonna run our Zoom after. Stan, there's a bunch of people want to meet you tonight. You want to come in and Steve.
Can we just off grandma say give her a minute at least?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Shut her down because then we can continue with what you got. We got the link at the bottom here, so we can follow along with Darcy. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, so and then you know what? Just let's go in this direction, or it could be another hour. It's easy. I gotta go to bed. Oh, the chief wants to go to sleep.
Hey man, your old man nap happens tomorrow, not today.
Yes, sir. You guys are night owls. All right, pissed off grandma. Go for it.
Hey, thank you very much. I just want to confirm what Karen and Heinz have been doing, because in British Columbia, through We the People at constitutional conventions, we've been working on the proof of claims with our regional districts and our mayors. And we have had oaths in the cities and in the regional districts. We have had confirmations that they don't have any contracts with us. We have had them in writing with our FOI requests, and they confirm that they don't have contracts and that they answer to the province. So we do have all that in confirmation that they do not have any contract, although they collect it with us for property taxation bylaws or anything else. And we also, because I've done it myself, have had no confirmation, which is tacit agreement, with the Minister of Finance where the money goes in the province of British Columbia. So I just wanted to confirm what Karen and Heinz have been doing, that we have been doing it, and we have had confirmation that they don't have the jurisdiction. So I wanted to share that because that is positive. And I just wanted to let everybody know that. Thank you.
Can you scan those documents in, sanitize them, take your name off it? That way everybody in BC can use it.
Yeah, we've done that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sanitize.
And they've been used also in Alberta and other provinces, Saskatchewan, and anyone that asks them can fill it in for themselves. Just put in their Minister of Finance, and we decided it worked out faster to use an FOI because that was their documents. And then we asked for please confirm via email prior to printing. And that's where they try and say, okay, well, you don't need it in writing because we can confirm that we don't have it. And we say, thank you very much, but we'll have it in writing, you know, we'll pick it up with our FOI. Thank you very much. Let us know when it's ready. So we've done it.
Good.
All right. Come a little closer there. You know what, Robert? I know. You know, we could.
It's
be
okay.
here
I put the link in. It's called Land Title and Survey Authority in British Columbia. Thank you.
Okay.
That's our Robert.
Okay. Hey, you know what, Robert?
I got something to say.
Oh, before you close, Steve, Stan,
Sir.
I'm
there's
listening.
there's a shitload of people that want to talk tonight. And you're going to meet a lot of good people. Please pop in. You know why?
Yeah, we'll do.
Hello.
They were not able to get into the Zoom room tonight. And next weekend, me and Steve and a whole bunch of others are going to figure out why they could not get in. All they get is one message.
How many people are on tonight? I mean, there's not that many. The darn thing should allow more than what we got.
We figured 1,000 tonight, and we have a shitload that couldn't get their pissed right off. And I don't know why they won't let them into this goddamn room. So I'm going to spend the next two days. Every single person, Ron's sitting right here. Come here, Ron. Come here. He's got his laptop here.
One guy just wrote, took me 30 minutes to get in here.
I know. He's got his laptop here and his phone.
Yeah.
He cannot get into the Zoom room. We have a whole bunch of waiting to get in, and they could not get in this room, and they're pissed right off. So
yeah, but when you have to click the link and sign into Zoom. Just because you click the link doesn't mean you get in. You have to actually sign into Zoom too.
They tried that.
Yeah.
Not working.
Okay. Okay.
It's thousands. So
Do
a lot.
you maybe
wait
have
there.
a limit? Have a limit set? Right?
I invited Bob Hanson tonight. Bob Hanson's in tonight. So's Kathy. They all got in. And even Claudia got in. But a whole bunch of other people are waiting to hear from you. And we're going to continue.
Thanks,
Stan.
Hey, where's your duct tape, buddy?
Thanks, Steve.
Hey, Stan McDonald. Okay, we gotta thank him so much. We gotta really, excellent show. You know what? It makes it all. You know, we gotta get everyone keep coming on here. How you find Stan McDonald? Go on YouTube channel, search Stan McDonald. That's the name of his channel, and it's without an A, McDonald. All right. So if they don't find you handsome, gotta find you handy in the courts, in at home. Keeping you lifted on your neighbors. All right. Hey, glory to the King. And remember, we got to keep going with this. And
you'll have the video up in a few hours.
we'll have the video up tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
And we love comments.
Yeah. Share this video far and wide because really is needed. Stop recording.